what's going on, everyone? Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. As you guys can see, Max's Man Cave looks a little bit different because I have a whole host of panel members with me tonight. Before I introduce everyone, let me just give a huge shout out to Roman of the Empire, already dropping $5, saying greetings to all the Max's Man Cave dwellers. Max hugged me yesterday, and I'm never bathing again. Stay groovy, you fantastic folks. Thanks, Roman. Yeah, you better smell my cheap $5 cologne for the rest of the year. But for that, my friend, I will give you this. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Roman. And chat, I see you guys. Thank you all so much for being here. But I want to get just right into it today. So if I don't see your comment right away, I apologize. But just know I'm checking you guys out with my lingering eyes. Anyway, next to me, I have Salty, Corey, Texas C. What's going on, dude?
Not much. Taking a break from making videos. Got your invite the other day talking about legendary heroes. Important people in history, and I couldn't say no to that. Thank you for the invite.
Dude, of course. No, I mean, you guys are technically my legendary heroes tonight. So
nice.
Of course.
Right next to him, you guys have probably seen him before on some of my videos. We've got Josh. What's going on, dude? Your background is epic, like I said before, and in the green room. I'm really digging it.
I'm getting there. I've got some art that I still need to put up and some lights, as you pointed out. But yes, we're getting there slowly but surely.
Some LEDs, maybe some like cool shelf LEDs or something might look interesting. I don't know.
Do I need to get one of those like gay rainbow keyboards like you have?
Yep.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
If you support you are part of the LGBTQ community, right? So if you support, no, I'm kidding.
Fair.
Well, I mean, after you guys saw my keyboard, whenever I do the comic book panels, that's the reason why I got it, is to support Josh. So
nice. Bullshit. Wow.
Right below me, I've got Zaxx, and what's going on, man? It's always good to see your smiling Colin Farrell face and broad shoulders.
Yes. Thanks, guys. It's been a good day. I went on a live stream earlier today with the White Cloaks, and then I was outside the rest of the day, and I came back in in time for this and found out there's a big story I'm missing. I'm gonna find out about later. So other than it's been great. I've been outdoors all day, so I've earned this.
Hell yeah, dude.
Cheers.
Absolutely. And thanks for being on even after being on a stream earlier today. I was going to introduce Don Flaccid, but everyone knows who he is. He's the biggest one on the channel right now.
He is.
Momentarily. We'll see what happens.
The other day he had 3 streams in one day. So I was like, okay, big time over here.
Big swing.
I know. I was sore afterwards after that, you know. Oh, dude, I don't think enough attention is being brought to Zaxx's. I know you guys really don't follow it, but this KGF reaction video that Kyle did that looks probably the best he's ever looked on stream. His tank top. Give a little tease of the baby. Oh, yeah, that's what Daddy wants. That's you.
Oh, wow.
Daddy needs more of that. So,
wow.
Oof. Well, I'm gonna have to peep that later tonight because I can't do that on stream right now. I might have to take 5 minutes.
Wow.
But yes, we do have some big news, and yes, Flaccid, thank you so much for being here, brother. It's good to see you.
Glad to be here.
But yeah, so we do have some news that is, I guess you could call it breaking, but if you guys checked out my Twitter, you kind of already know what it is. But I wanted to before we show the tweet, and thank you, Salty, for bringing that up. Man, you guys
of course.
See this is why you guys are
got the A-team
heroes. Exactly, for real,
A-team.
right? Before we get right into that, I want to say next week is the Vegas meetup. And if you guys click the pinned comment or the pinned link in the comments right there in the chat, you guys can actually RSVP for the Vegas Nerdrotic meetup for Friday Night Tights. It's kind of odd because it's called Friday Night Tights, but we're doing it on a Wednesday. Who cares? It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great meetup. So if you guys plan on going, make sure to RSVP there. We have the entire Millennium Fandom Bar reserved just for us. There will not be any other people going into the bar other than fans. So it'll be super fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So if you are going, let me know in the chat or DM me or something, because I'd love to say hi while you guys are there. Now that we've gotten the meetup out of the way, this was found on Morphid Clark's Instagram today. I was scrolling through as I naturally do, and on her story, for those of you who don't know, Morphid Clark is the woman supposedly playing Galadriel. It's not Galadriel, but supposedly. She put on her story, anyone sending hate to my black castmates, get off my page, get off the internet, and shut up. Followed by another picture that I didn't show here on Twitter, but it was Celebrimbor, and like in his hand, next to his hand, it just said, shut the F up.
Whoa, really?
Oh yeah, so here, let me see if I can bring up the Instagram.
I was shocked. I was shocked when you shared this out today, and we'd placed bets a couple of weeks ago when this was going to start, and it did take about a week and a half, 2 weeks for this shit to start. But of course, here we are. It is step 5 of the ESG score marketing plan, which is play the victim, and they're doing it. It's only going to get more intense and predictably stupid from here.
I wonder sometimes if what Salty's saying, they're so predictable with this. You guys can make bets on it, right? That is it a little bit of like group think that they all do this, or do you think it's a little bit of marketing in it that they can kind of like play that whatever the race car, whatever, being like, oh, people are hating us. That way they can get in the headlines again to get like publicity around this. So I'm wondering, what would you think out of those two? Do you think it's groupthink, or do you think it's publicity, or just kind of even on both those fronts?
I think it's both. I think they get points on the ESG scorecard for causing racism, even though there is probably no racism, even though people are saying, why don't you shut up about the way you look in your ethnicity and talk about your character and how grateful you are to be part of Tolkien's legendarium, even if it is just this many pages in 99.9% mediocrity from Payne and McKay. Instead we just got to hear about me.
It's frustrating because like you said, Flaccid, it's you can't even tell now, is this like an actual marketing tactic? Because we've seen it so many times with Kenobi, we've seen it with Star Trek, we've seen it with Marvel, where they weaponize someone's skin color or sexuality or whatnot, and it's upsetting because all we really want is just for them to talk about the series. We like if Sophia Nomvetti, who plays Diza, if she started coming out and was just talking about how much she loved the character of Diza and Khazad-dûm and like the places that she inhabited and how she turned herself into this character, that would be so interesting. But we don't get that, you know what I mean? So I wonder if it is like a marketing strategy. Let me go ahead and play this real quick so you guys can see. It's like 3 seconds, but did you catch it? Did you guys get that?
So
this is the initial one, and then here's her second thing.
A couple of thoughts. So if you read what she said, is she saying green light on Asian castmates if they had any, which I don't think they do, because that's not how they do representation over at Amazon?
Right.
It's the Kenobi thing. It's like Rosie Gamgee said. It's the same idea. They label you, they attack you first so that you can't criticize them, even though you were never going to in the first place. And it's their only play now. When they have nothing good to show you, they tend to show you nothing and call you names.
If you take a look at what Kenobi did, that was probably the first time we truly saw, I would say, an inorganically manufactured there's racist trolls thing out there. And it happened right before the show came out to create buzz, and has, bounding in the comics. But not only that, actually the viewing figures indicated this is a strategy that doesn't work. Nobody cared Nobody watched Kenobi. It had the worst viewership numbers of any Disney Star Wars product out there, and was worse than Loki and WandaVision. Can you imagine? You have Kenobi. Everyone was waiting for Kenobi, and you turned it into some woman, Reva, who only got the job because somebody saw her interview or auditioning for another show and said, "We need her."
I think what a lot of people have this misconception for is that, like, when fans criticize things, like, we're criticizing them personally. But I actually, like, I've watched what's her name, the actress who plays Moses Ingram. Like, I've watched her interviews, and she's really sweet, she's kind, she's really knowledgeable, she's super ecstatic about playing the part and everything. Like, she seems awesome. So, like, I have nothing against her at all. I think what most fans who, like, watched the show, they were like, yo, she has nothing to do with Kenobi. Why is Kenobi not in the show when it's mainly Reva? So their concerns were more about, like, the character of Reva. And I think that's what we're seeing with this whole, like, Sophia Nomvetti playing Diza thing, is like, they're actually concerned that she's not playing Diza and that she's just playing female dwarf.
Her.
You know what I mean? Like, she's just, she's playing her. And Zaxx, you mentioned that to us, like, a while ago, is that these characters are playing Durin the Fourth, these, or Ar-Pharazôn or whatever, but she's just playing her because it's about her.
And I think that's part of that could be because of The Witcher, when they cast black actors and they put one of them in whiteface and the other one they dyed her hair red, and there was a backlash against that. And so now they're just casting black actors in roles, and that's it. There's no costume, no nothing. It's just you walk in off the street and this is what you look like, as opposed to everyone else who's in costume and makeup and hair. It's weird.
That's the same thing that happened on the Sandman, though.
Yes.
With Death.
Yeah.
Not only was the character race swapped, but they didn't even have her dress like the comic book character. And this is Death. This is the embodiment of death. This is a demigod. This is an infinite being, and it's an African British. It's somebody who's wearing clothes like she walked off of a British soap opera and is not even vaguely saying the lines in any way that she's acting. It's literally just somebody saying the lines like they're in a soap opera, not like they're this epic being in a classic Neil Gaiman comic book story. And then we're racist if we don't like it.
Yeah, I think if you point to fans that are getting mad about this whole thing and you look at it and you go, oh, why are they getting so mad about this black actress? It must be because it's racist. That's like the dumb brain NPC way to look about it. But look at all of the other casting decisions that were made within Hollywood before, like, whatever you want to say, this whole race thing started coming up huge in pop culture. How much shit did Heath Ledger get when being casted as the Joker, right? I think he got way more hate than Moses Ingram got. And Ben Affleck. Yep. And
that's the one that everyone wrong. Hated.
Right. And so fans are just passionate about their properties. And I don't see why people care all that. I mean, like, the Juggernaut in X-Men, we're like, dude, that's not the Juggernaut. In X-Men 3. X-Men 3, I'm saying. In Deadpool, I'm like, yo, that kind of looks like Juggernaut. That looks kind of good. People will be about that. And also, like, when Jennifer Lawrence is put front and center in those X-Men movies because she popped off, we're like, dude, Mystique is not that big in the X-Men stuff. Why is she front and center? It has nothing to do about race. It has everything to do about our love of this fandom, and they really don't care, and they'll just play it off as victimhood if they can to win points and deflect from the actual criticism.
Exactly. And that's one thing with these Fire of Fandom videos, not to make it about me, but we're going to have number 15 drop in another day. And it was originally only supposed to be 30, but it's going to be 40. And I'm still recording with people right now that desperately want to put their voice in. And having heard 40 different people, many of whom I don't have a relationship, talk about Tolkien and then ask them a question. Why are you concerned about the Rings of Power? Not one person said, because I'm a racist and I don't like people of BIPOC people. They said, this is not accurate to the spirit of Tolkien. This is not representative of the works of Tolkien. This is made by much lesser people for obvious reasons of agenda. And that's disgusting considering Professor Tolkien's legacy. And that they don't know how to refute that criticism. So they're going to do this, which is just basic bitch. And it's so predictable.
It is very frustrating considering that there are people out there on the internet, because let's be real, it's the internet and it's cancer. Like, there are some awful people that say some terrible things, and it is a very minor portion of the large majority. But Amazon or Disney or whoever it is, like big corporations, like they take those small little minority like groups that do say hateful things, those like racist things, but they blow it up and they make it a marketing strategy or a marketing scheme. And to me, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but like that just seems like the worst way possible, because then you give power to those minority groups. You're like giving power to people who shouldn't even have a voice to begin with. They're these weirdo, just strange people who will say like the worst things possible, and then Amazon holds on to that comment and they're like, well, that must mean everyone thinks this way. And it's just such it's not a great way to look at your fans.
Do you actually do we think we've reached the stage where we can admit that a lot of this was probably created by these corporations themselves, just so they could do this? Because I've been feeling that for a long time. You know?
I think it's created to a degree, but I think what's worse is I think you have a large population of these people that honestly believe this is the reality, and that's what to me that's scary.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because for comics, this started in comics back in like 2013, 2014. You know, Marvel started their all new era, and they replaced all their main heroes with either a race swap or a gender swap, and it was just done to do it. And people didn't respond to it well. And that's when, at least in comics, you started seeing, oh, you're bigots, oh, you're this, oh, you're racist, oh, you're sexist. And it was like, no, you're just like giving us a crappy character that's got 60, 70 years worth of establishment. And there's nothing to this character other than like, oh, I'm a female, or oh, I'm black and I'm better now. That's it.
Well, that's the thing that you were saying in our video, brother, is like when we were talking about John Kent, they were trying to make him towards like an audience for well, he should be kind of for everyone, right? But they were really kind of gearing him towards like one specific audience, and that was like, people of the LGBTQ community. But he wasn't really doing anything that we could see when we read that book that was like that heroic. So then when people criticized that, they were like, oh, well, you're homophobic. But people who are gay were reading this book and were like, no, this bad writing, or like, or I don't see myself in this book, Yeah. And so they like point this broad finger of like, well, you're just all this thing. And you're going, well, actually, no, because I don't know. It's really but you bring up a good point though, Josh, of the fact that comics did this a decade ago.
Yeah.
And it's just never gone away.
I do think too.
I think it's still burning to to the ground.
Oh
right?
yeah,
I mean, absolutely. See how well that wins, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's their
comics have never been more successful, have they?
Oh god, yeah. That's what they're going to tell you right now. Their sales, if you look at the Western comics, sales are dismal, and they're still trying to do the same thing. I was going to say too, though, like this argument's been going on, and I kind of feel like us, the people that present criticisms to what we're seeing. And then we're hearing this like, oh, you're racist, oh, you're bigoted feedback. And, when we heard it like a few years ago, especially when it started hitting mainstream television and film, we were just kind of like, that's stupid. And we wouldn't respond. And now it's just kind of like, all right, enough's enough. Like, I think part of the reason you're seeing it blow up is because we're finally saying enough is enough.
Well, yeah. The other thing too is like probably when we were receiving it at first, like if someone were to call, you're a ist or a phobe, people would kind of shrug it off and laugh it off and go like, no, I'm not. Like, that's not even it's not even a thought. Right. But now it's like become such a constant thing that it's like, whoa, dude, okay, that's enough. Like we've kind of had it at this point. Cause at first, like you said, it's like if someone calls you a liar at first and you're not lying, you're going to go, whatever, dude. And you're just going to shrug it off. But if they continue to like call you out and call you a liar and blah, 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 you're going to be like, okay, now like I've had enough at this point.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of what we're seeing here.
I got some share.
I love this picture so
yeah.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zaxx, can you go ahead and describe to us what we're seeing here?
Oh, the Amazon board of directors. They're quite diverse. They have one female of mixed race and a bunch of mostly white dudes who are look to be above the age of 50. And so it's like they almost like they don't want us to look at this anymore because that's been a concern. And people were saying years ago Bezos is going to space when he could be feeding the planet. And then the same people are saying representation, and they're not even looking at this, which is, I mean, it pretty much describes itself what they're doing. And if you look at who's actually employed in the warehouses, that is where it's diverse because they don't pay very well and they treat their employees like garbage. But these people, hey, they're fine. Don't look at us. Look over here.
And they're the ones pushing this message. They're the ones pushing this message, you know, and I'll just, let me get to this point because I don't want to lose it is, so now that Morford Clark has done what she's done, that is the signal to start the, ready for it, the Kelly Marie Tran Toxic Fandom Greatest Hits album. Kelly Marie Tran was bullied off the internet. John Boyega, a person of color, was bullied for being black in Star Wars. Then what the hell was the, well, this is what they're going to run with the narrative. You're right. Then Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker, all of us are misogynists for hating that terribly written shit show. And then, of course, Reva from Kenobi. Those are going to be in every article, and all of those things are manufactured lies. And now we're going to add this to that lie, and it'll be carried forward for the next thing they do. It's disgusting and it's infuriating. And I think, Max, you hit the nail on the head. We're not doing this anymore. We're gonna counterattack immediately and say this is all bullshit, which is what we have to do.
Yeah, I think in order to have our points be taken seriously and to actually criticize something within the realm of valid criticism, I think it is fair for us to come back and say that is incorrect. Actually, we're not going to stand for just being lied to or demeaned or called these names anymore. Like, our criticism is valid, and we the customer, not just the fan, but the customer, are telling you what we want to see, and you just continue to shrug it off. Like, one of the biggest things like that would get me back into comic book movies or comic book shows or whatever, Henry Cavill Superman. Let's just do a film, Henry Cavill Superman. I don't care what it's about. Just give me a Henry Cavill Superman movie and I will be the first in line to go see it. That would make me so excited right now. And a lot of fans would probably say the same thing, but we're not getting it because they're just like, no, they don't really want Henry Cavill Superman. And we're like, yeah, we do. Like, that's our best Superman right now.
Yeah. But you better not say anything bad about Ezra Miller because then you'll be transphobic or whatever the hell it is.
Oh no.
Just because he abducts children allegedly and started
just because
a cult
they
and has committed felonies and attacked women. Just because he's done all that, that still makes you a transphobic person. Everyone in chat, too, you're all transphobes. I'm kidding.
No, chat, I love you guys. But yes, it is funny to me whenever I hear someone talk about Ezra, I go, oh no.
I'm not a transphobe. I just want to disassociate myself from this stream here. I'm not a transphobe.
For differentiating.
Yep, nice.
Thank you. Well, now we all know.
Oh my God, that's great.
That's good.
I wonder if on this
see the regret cross Max face. You should have just said, should have did this solo stream.
Why did I invite these people on? No, okay.
Are we at the point now where we hurt ourselves by arguing in good faith and they take advantage of that? Because you open, Max, by saying, well, there are people out there who do think like that. And then that's all they hear. And that's it. It's like, okay, I win, right? And I would like to see who are these people, because I don't know any of them. I've heard of them. I think we've all heard of them. But are we more racist now than Mace Windu? Like, how did that happen?
Right. It does seem odd. We're like, at what point in fandom? Because, like, I don't know. We were talking about this the other day, Josh, is like Midnighter and Apollo is this badass team of comic book superheroes that are openly gay. Yeah. And like, he takes, like, Midnighter's I was reading some Midnighter stuff on Josh's recommendation. He fucking takes no prisoners, dude. Like he bloodies his knuckles, and he's, it's not a stereotype. And he's been around for ages, but now but now somehow like we're not accepting of him when like this is the most progressive I think that America has ever been.
Of course it is.
It just, I don't know, man. It like you said, it doesn't really make as much sense. But
or is it that you mentioned Mace Windu? I'm like, is Samuel L. Jackson just exempt? Like, we're like, look, we can't have black people taking these white roles, but if it's Samuel L. Jackson,
we're okay with it.
Okay, fine. Mace Windu, sure.
If he's
Nick Fury,
he's Samuel Jackson,
rock on.
And he's got a purple lightsaber and an eye patch. You know what?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. Well, let's get these mother effing Sith out of this mother effing temple. That's what I want. Yeah.
There's a video I wanted to do where I was gonna break it down, but like time came up a little bit for me. But I wanted to say, it's impossible to be a racist and love Star Wars. Like there is so many like black people that are integral to the story, right? Like you said, Mace Windu, Lando, Darth Vader, the most iconic figure, is voiced by a black guy. How do you like Star Wars? Like, you know what? After I'm done with the KKK rally, I just like to put on some Star Wars, but I really just like the anti-black edit of it. It's like, dude, there's no way you can like Star Wars and be a racist. Otherwise, you're mentally ill or something. Because there's no way.
Yeah.
There's plenty of mentally ill on the internet, and
sure, got me there.
that's certainly true. However, you're right. I mean, it seems almost counterproductive to be like, you can't be one, or you can't be both. It wouldn't make sense. Like, and same thing with Star Wars and Tolkien. Like, these are franchises and legendariums that have spanned millions of people. We're talking millions of people across the globe,
hundreds
of millions of different countries and continents. Like, we are talking such a broad audience that there's no way that you're telling me that it's just been for white people, or that only white people have, or cisgendered people have found themselves in these stories or whatnot. So let me quickly get to this super chat, and then I will get we'll continue. Justice Fats Seagal, I haven't seen you in a while, brother, but thank you for being here. He says, hey Salty, what's up? Hey panel, MVP, proud of you. Hey man, thank you, I appreciate that. I don't know what anyone would be proud of about. I'm kidding. Let me go ahead and play this for you, brother. No mercy! And then we have Epstein's Ghost for $5. Thank you, sir. He says, I call out wokeness in comics and get called a racies by white libs. It's funny because I'm a person of color. Libs always show their true colors. Cheers. Wow. Epstein's Ghost, dude, thank you so much for saying that. It is amazing to me that so many of like our friends, whether they were in the Marine Corps with me or even here, like on some of these streams and on YouTube, are people of color, and they're being called the white, or what is it, the black face of white supremacy, and these like horrible names and stuff, all because they just want to have a good story, or they want like I was reading Green Lantern John Stewart the other day, and I was like, dude, this is so cool. Like, he's so like, I love the fact that he is one of the leaders in the Green Lantern Corps, because you can see his Marine Corps experience and his nobility and stuff. I have no problem with his race, and it's
Trevor Noah
unfortunate.
sucks, though. We can agree on that.
Trevor Noah?
Yeah. Sorry, John Stewart pun joke.
Oh, you went there. Okay.
I did.
All right.
Gotcha.
Okay. That's
gotcha. Okay. And then we have one more, Drew with Comics Elite. Dude, great to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Drew is a regular on the Comics Aficionados with Josh and I on Saturdays, but he goes, just jumped in. What are my fellow hate mongers talking about? Bruce being bi? No, not yet. I wish that were our next topic, dude. But yeah, if you guys didn't know, there's a comic that's going to be coming out this week. this Wednesday. I think, Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Batman Fortress. Josh,
No,
I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Oh
It's
God,
Batman the
that's
Night.
right.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's Batman the Night #8. So,
And it's Chip Zdarsky too.
correct.
Batman the Night is doing Chip Zdarsky is doing Batman the Night, where they've confirmed that Bruce had a homosexual relationship with Ghost.
Yeah, Anton.
Yeah.
which is Ghostmaker. Yeah.
Which is Ghostmaker. So
Yeah.
we will be seeing that in the headlines. So thank you for reminding me, Drew.
Wait, is Ghostmaker black?
No, he's Asian.
Oh, okay, good. Whew, all
Yeah.
right.
Oh, okay, all right. We've covered
It's
all
okay.
our bases. Then it's okay, guys. We're good.
That's the race that gets excused.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, well for Drew, I'm gonna give you this.
I bid you stand! Stand of the West!
And for my good friend Epstein's Ghost, I'm gonna give you an oldie but a goodie.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Spoiler.
Did you say spoiler? Is that
Yeah.
Oops. Come on, if y'all
I
haven't
love that,
watched
though.
1998 Blade,
Mhm.
one of my favorites. John, Creative Blue Collar guy, he's doing a stream tomorrow about movies that you love that like are considered bad, but that you would defend. And like I feel like Blade or Blade 2 are one of those that like, though they're not conventionally beautifully cinematography, like well done films or anything, I love the fuck out of those movies.
Oh yeah, dude.
Who are you,
totally.
Max? I don't know what the.
I'm
They're
gonna come out.
perfect
I'm gonna
films.
come out. I'm gonna come out live on your channel. You know what movie I just watched before coming out here? MTV's Hansel and Gretel with Jeremy Renner.
Oh.
That's fun. That's fun.
And let me tell you what, I had a hell of a good time, man, with them shooting those witches and making witches' head explode. I was like, this is awesome. It's terrible, but it's awesome. You know?
That's kind of also how now Flaccid might leave the stream when I say this, but I kind of also feel that way about Ben Affleck Daredevil. Like it's just very nostalgic for me. Oh, no, Josh has got something to
I'm
say.
leaving.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm done.
It's
done.
like it's a bad movie, and
sucks.
Colin Farrell is hamming it up as Bullseye. He's like doing the forehead thing, but I love it. It's nostalgia bait for me. What can I?
What does
say?
Colin Farrell on the panel here think?
Ew.
Yeah.
About Daredevil, Ben Affleck, I like that movie. I own it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I thought
Now
it
we're
was fun.
talking.
No,
Now
I'm
we're
not saying it
talking.
was objectively good,
Okay.
but I liked it. But also, I just tried to show Highlander to my 18-year-old. And oh my God, is that a hard movie to explain to a kid when he's like, what is this I'm watching? Why is that guy doing backflips? And he's French and he's trying to sound Scottish. Like, what is this? And he's not wrong. And it's like, no, but it's really good. And here's the story. And he's like, okay. But yeah, the first fight where he's in the parking lot, he fights the guy and he drops his sword and the guy starts doing backflips between cars. Like, what was that? And I don't have an answer. I'm like, well, just stick with it. It gets good. The Kurgan is cool. But yeah.
Yeah. It was a moment in time. The MTV had just started. Everything was smoke and mirrors because they didn't know how to make music videos. And so what are we going to do? Let's have a dude do backflips in a trench coat in a parking garage.
You could say blackface.
That's what I thought you were about to say. I was like,
that would be perfect.
Well, it all, we could have did that in the 80s. Nobody would have had a problem with that, you know?
Tropic Thunder.
Well, Canada
Yeah,
doesn't
baby.
have a problem with it, apparently.
No,
Their,
no, they
supreme
don't.
leader.
They don't.
We're all good.
Hail to Eric O'Sullivan. What's going on, man? Dude, I have loved your Twitter feed as of late. Eric went to, what was the most recent con, Josh? C2?
Boston.
Boston, yes. Thank you, Salty. Yeah, C2E2 was all the drama with the comic book.
Yeah.
But yeah, Boston was the most recent one. And yeah, dude, Eric, I've been loving your updates. It's really fun to see everyone hanging out together. So let's see. I think we're all caught up on Super
Can I
Chats.
shout out Dr. Rachel Lindberg's feed as well? She has hung out with so many cool people today. I really wish I could have gotten to Boston. So well done, Rachel Lindberg. Dr. Rachel Lindberg, you know how to go to a fan expo. Very well played.
And her cosplays, Chef's kiss. They were on point. They were great,
Yeah.
Rachel. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for being here as well. So yes, other than Morphed Clark starting the resurgence of comments that we are going to get, because here's the thing is like, do we expect this to, is this the point where they press the button and they go initiate, marketing deployment where like this is all we're going to hear from now?
It's 2 weeks prior to the release. This is the prime time to talk about whatever you're releasing. So it's going to explode. And what's bad, I was gonna say what's bad is what we've been wanting to get. Or I haven't cared about this. I haven't followed this at all because quite frankly, I don't give a shit.
Sure.
But what you guys care about, they're probably gonna start showing now, but it's gonna get drowned in all this like bull crap that's going on.
Yeah,
I think they're building a little nest out of racism now, and then we're going to get to and then they're going to feather that nest with racism and misogyny. So when they drop the queerness in Tolkien, and I did an article covering that on Tuesday night, Max, I don't think you were there.
Oh,
but I did a video. I did
see your video. Yeah,
they started laying the foundation for how important it is to have gay hobbits, and how Frodo and Sam were actually gay. They're doing this again, and that's going to drop. That's going to drop too.
Here's the thing too for that is for Morphed Clark, like I'd like to speak directly to her right now. Listen, you know that we just don't like your portrayal of Galadriel. That's the big concern, not anyone else. Mm-hmm. We don't like you. So that's it. Like you can say don't talk to my friends. No, we're talking to you. Your portrayal sucks so far.
And you know what? I think that's there's a great video. Call me Chato. I think you guys have Call Me Chato. He talks about this too, where he was like, listen, at first I was like, they're just actors doing their job. They were given a role to play, and now they are just playing their role, which is what actors do. They have to play their part, and that's their job. But seeing this type of backlash where the actors start making it a point to start attacking and weaponizing, this stuff, then I go, okay, they're not doing their job anymore. They're now in this whole circle of hate of this like marketing ploy. So Zaxx, I don't think you're wrong in saying like, listen, we are criticizing you now. We were criticizing the show. We were criticizing what we were seeing. Yeah. But now your actions and your behavior and your narcissism and cynicism and all this stuff, we're now criticizing you because you have come out and been openly aggressive, where you could have been like, listen, I hear the criticism. I'm just really excited for the show, and I am very happy to be playing this role. Simple, fucking done. That's how you market your show. Yeah. You say you're grateful for it, you're excited for the opportunity, and you move on. And we just haven't heard that.
No, I don't think we will. Will. And here's the thing, working off of identity politics, of course the women are going to be allowed to speak first, and of course the loudest voices have to be BIPOC women. Now Morphed Clark can step in. Now you're probably going to see the woman who's playing the Numenor queen, and whatever. But at no point can Payne and McKay come in like White Knight for these people now. If they do that, they're violating their own rules of intersectionality. Like, these women have their own agency. They have to be shown as being independent. So it'll be interesting to see how Amazon plays this if they follow their rules,
Let's say go ahead.
Oh, just real quick. The weird thing is like the showrunners have been saying, no, we're not doing this. And then the actors have been like, yeah, we're doing this. So like they're just not on the same page. But Flaccid, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, this is probably the smart move from Amazon, though, to be honest, right? If you're behind the scenes and you're like looking at this thing and you're like, dude, this is shit. What do I do? Listen, here's a tip. Here's a tip for married folk out here. If you forget it's your wife's birthday, right? The best thing you could do is then go on the offense on her, right? Being like, oh, you're not cleaning up around here. You smell like shit. And then she's not even thinking about the fact that I missed your birthday. I'm a shitty husband. She's now thinking like, wow, maybe he's right. Maybe I am a piece of shit wife and all this stuff. So go on the offense, and then they're kind of distracted by the fact, hey, I forgot everything about your birthday and stuff. So this is kind of a smart move, but I think it's played so many times that now we see right through it, right?
Wow.
Oh,
Your
yeah,
wife
yeah.
must,
I mean,
your wife is a saint, isn't she?
No joke. She just walked in and handed me White Claws during that rant. So and didn't say anything.
Wow.
oh, White Claws, huh?
That's what I was laughing at too.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. All right. We got some seltzer in the
Wow.
house. No, I mean, well, thank you for the relationship advice too, Flaccid. That was kind
Write
of a
that down,
twofold
folks.
answer. Yeah, that was like relationship
Yeah.
advice and advice for marketing. Now, no, we've exactly like you said, brother. Like we've had what, half a decade of this now. Like started with 2016 Ghostbusters, and has just continued on with Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Marvel, like whatever, and now it's Lord of the Rings. So because we've seen it now, we can accurately like see it for what it is and like acknowledge it and go, okay, but as far as your thing about the whole wife, remembering the wife's birthday, yes,
Pearls of wisdom.
Amazon is
Pearls.
definitely trying to divert. They are trying to attack and divert as much as they can so that their criticism is not actually warranted, I guess I should say. But
Oh, and real quick, Bramble calling me gay for the White Claws. Just to let you know, Bramble, I am gay, and I'm trying to tell my wife, but I don't have the balls to say it, so I've been asking her to buy me White Claws for the past few months, and she's not picking up on the hint, guys. So
I'm not gonna lie, I'm pissed because I was waiting for a break in the conversation so I can be like, look, I just want to acknowledge that I feel better right now. I thought I was gonna have the limpest wrist on this stream, and then I found out that Flaccid has a White Claw, so I'm good.
Yeah.
It's not just his wrist that's limp. Look at his icon. Okay.
yeah, there you go.
hey, now we've really got representation on here. I like
Hey.
that.
Welcome.
I like that.
There we go.
Even and this is no offense to you, Josh, but Josh, even though you are gay, I think Flaccid is gayer because he's drinking White Claws, and I'm not sure though.
I mean, if I were drinking alcohol right now, it'd be Guinness or whiskey. So
so there you go.
My man, I'd rather be in a foxhole with you than anywhere near Flaccid Phoenix. I just want to say that one right now. That's
Well,
all
it depends
I'm
where you want the night to go, Salty.
Oh, I know. In the complete opposite direction of where you do, Flaccid Phoenix.
Just try it one time. You've never gone down this road. Get over here.
No, I don't need to go
man.
down that road. No, you got that road covered, brother. It's all you. All the time.
It's greater than White Claws.
Yeah, and
Miller Lite.
I am glad though, Flaccid, that we have your support during this difficult time. I do like your icon. I think it's
You're welcome.
Very supportive. So
Pride Month every month, baby.
it sure feels like it over at Marvel and DC. So
yeah. I was going to say something serious real quick though, because I will say I do think representation does matter, and I do think you need it, and I think you need your stuff to be relatable. I think the problem that we're seeing now with media and producers and publications is their idea of representation is what represents them personally as an individual instead of representation for a mass audience. And I think if they can figure that out, you won't have the shit that we're seeing now. Because if you look back, and we've had this conversation before, like when I grew up, there were plenty of like action movies that had females in it, and they were great. Like you look at Alien, and I was like, nobody complained that and then you had Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like going through the 90s, you had prominent female leads that were doing action type stuff.
Laura
and
Croft, Tomb Raider.
Yeah, you didn't hear people complaining, So I it's one of those things that's like people are saying these things now. Big dig, misogynist, racist, whatever. And I think it's just because one, they're stupid and not even ignorant, just stupid, and they don't understand what they're saying.
There's just not enough supply. There's not enough actual supply to meet their demands, so they have to change the rules so that they can feel aggrieved. And that's why it's so hard to keep up with this stuff. Is there's not enough actual racists and misogynists and all this other stuff, unless you're in Hollywood. Let's be honest about it. But here in the audience, like we're not like that, so they have to keep doing this stuff. More narrative creation. That's all it is.
Right. And yeah, to add to what both of you guys are saying, it is the instead of actually putting accurate and like genuine representation in, because as Josh said before, I think it is you have strong storytelling when you're able to allow like almost everyone to see yourself in a character, regardless of skin color or sexuality. But even though representation is good in film, it shouldn't be done in a stereotypical, almost comical fashion. You know what I mean? Like where it's almost like insulting to some of these minority groups or marginalized, I guess you could call them marginalized communities. But yeah, I mean, like it's extremely offensive to say that my personality is I'm a black man, or my personality is a trans woman, or something, like, because that's, you know, Josh, you and I've talked about this before. There's more to you as a person than just who you sleep with, you know, or what your skin color is. So even though I'd love to just go around telling people, hey, any women out there, but that's not how I should probably handle myself out in public. But what's going on, Thomas? Great to see you. Another guy who's over at the Boston Fan Expo, chilling with all the lovely people, with Rachel, Eric, Jay, the whole crew. I think Brightest Day was over there too. So hail to all you guys. I'm bummed. I'm bummed that I wasn't there. Yeah, their representation seems to be somewhat of a caricature. Now, we were initially going to go over, and we're already almost about 45 minutes into the stream, but we were going to do legendary heroes tonight for you guys. And I was going to ask the panel any stories that they would actually want to tell if they were given like full access to a Hollywood production company and all the finances they could have. What story they would want to tell, what property they would want to like adapt or whatnot. Because I think that would also be really cool to hear what some of these creative minds could think when we're just kind of dudes. You know what I mean? Like we're not professionals, or we're not actors or producers or screenwriters or anything. But I really wanted to hear from these guys. So I'll ask the panel though, would you guys prefer to do legendary heroes first, or do you want to talk about some properties that you would want to actually create and make? Do you guys have a preference?
Just based on the chat, let's go with legendary heroes, the chat that we had, because I think that's what the majority were pretty excited about. And,
cool.
And I'm kind of excited to hear their stuff. So
yeah, that's right. Does anyone want to go first? If you guys in the actual YouTube chat, if you guys haven't been here before, Legendary Heroes is something I do on Max's Man Cave. I try and do it almost every week, where I highlight a hero of note, whether they be fictional, non-fictional, or whatnot, or dead or alive. I try and give them some backstory and just show people like, hey, there are actual some pretty dope heroes out there. So I named the segment Legendary Heroes, but today I get a bunch of legendary heroes with me to talk about legendary heroes. But so is anyone like just rearing to be like, I'm here, let me go first?
I'll go if nobody volunteers, just so you're not left hanging. But I think Flaccid should go first.
I should go first.
Flaccid.
I'm gonna go quick through this because there's not a lot about my my choice here for this legendary hero, and I only learned about him in this last year because it was in my architecture class, and they were talking about the city of Cincinnati, and my teacher was telling us, like, does anyone know what that name comes from? And I had no idea. I just assumed like many Midwest states and like towns that it was just like some sort of Native American naming convention or whatever. And no, actually Cincinnati comes from the Roman statesman Cincinnatus, and some things are not fully known about him, that he was a counselor, or he was the council for the Roman, what was it? It was the Roman Republic. It was before it was the Empire, right? So this was 400 BC. He actually took charge of because of assassination, he took charge of the government for a little bit of time, but then because of his son, he had to like step down. His son basically screwed up all of his finances for him, so he had to step away, and he became a farmer. So you basically imagine like the vice president gets put into office, as the president, then has to step away because of family matters, right? So he steps away, and
they're going to do that though with Camilla. That's going to actually happen, right. But never mind. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
So he steps away for a little bit, and then Rome is he's a farmer, and he's literally plowing his field, and Rome comes up to him and goes, "Dude, we need your help now. We want to elect you as the dictator, our state-sanctioned dictator." So back then, they actually had a dictator that would come in and basically just rule over Rome for like 6 months. I think it was sanctioned, and so he comes in. He basically realizes, okay, yeah, my people do need me right now. So he comes in, leads this campaign. I think it takes like 15 days. And instead of holding on to power, you can see there, that first statue, he's holding back I think it's called the fasces. And that's what was the symbol of the dictator, whoever had it, basically. It was the power of Rome. And you see these symbols everywhere in not only Rome, but also in the United States, because we've based our governmental style off of many aspects of antiquity. So, yeah, he basically hands back his power in as a dictator. And then it turns out, like, years later, 4 years later, he's asked again to become the dictator, and again takes the role and then hands it right back. So this is some people have like argued how much of this is actually true, but one thing they do know is this was a big inspiration for George Washington. You kind of get to see his statue there right below the one you have selected here, and it's a very similar thing George Washington did. Is after his 2 terms, he handed it back because they would have maybe even elected him as a king.
They asked him to
ruler.
They said they wanted to make him ruler for life of America. He's like, hell no, that's not how this works.
So this guy then is named, he has like a bunch of things named after him, but the biggest is Cincinnati, a large city in the United States. And I don't know, after hearing the story, I was like, dude, he's the exception to the rule of the phrase, absolute power corrupts absolutely. He could have stayed in for the full term of the dictator, and maybe got himself financially stable again with his family and stuff. But no, did what Rome called him to do, and then handed it back and went back to the plow. So this is a I don't know, really cool man that inspired another man 2,000 years later. Was helped found this country, whatever.
Donnie T.
Yeah, that's what I said. This guy has massive hands too, just like him.
Dude, what an absolute badass. Yeah, the stoicism that must come with that to rule and then be like, oh, okay, that I did my part, now I'm going to go back to farming or whatever is what you're essentially saying, right? Like that must take so much control, discipline, and just like knowing what his purpose is, which was essentially just, all right, I'm going back to the field, like I'm going back to what I love. And that it sounds like one of those classic movies where like they come to the military professional and they go, we need you back in the service. And he's like, I told you I'm retired, but they did it twice with this dude. So that is dope, man. What a legend.
He also lived to 89 years old. Think about that. Back then, 89,
Ooh.
That is ancient. So
because what was the average life expectancy? Like 40.
Yeah.
That's brutal, dude. Thank you so much. That is badass. Thank you for that one. Real quick before we get to our next one, let me just huge donation from our man
dude.
Silverlock. Wow, man. Thank you so much for this. He says, Max, I know I mentioned it on Twitter. I'm sending a donation for you to get the Audible book of The Forgotten Ruin. I also decided to send extra money so that you can get a copy of Silverlock by John Myers because I think you would enjoy it. Wow, man. Well, I'll let you know this money is going to go straight to those books. This is so generous of you, man. I really do appreciate that. Silverlock, you're in. Yeah, cheers to that, man. You're in all of our chats and you're always supporting us, brother. So this is really awesome. And what I'll do, Silverlock, is once I read these, what I'll most likely do is maybe I could do a YouTube review, a video on it, because these sound great. And I'm sure this is probably most likely what it is. But the book Silverlock by John Myers, is that where you get your name from, or is there a different story behind that? So I'd love to know. Oh, his name actually is John Myers. All right. Okay. Sweet, Silverlock. Well, for you, brother, let me I'll do it twofold. I'll play our Legendary Heroes intro, which I forgot to play earlier, and this will be the clip for your $99.99 donation. Once again, so generous, Silverlock. Thank you, sir.
That was badass. That was badass editing.
So, some of those, the most accurate depictions of those heroes, right?
Yes.
Just Mel Gibson. Just Mel Gibson.
Yeah. Only Braveheart is the 100% accurate portrayal of that. All right. So yeah, Flaccid, dude, thank you so much for the Cincinnatus, right? Anytime I hear Rome history, I'm all about it. Salty, you said you had
Let's do it.
Had one
Let's
for
roll.
us?
I do. So this is someone that I have had so much respect for my entire life. And it's only been in the last 25 years where his name, along with all of the founding fathers, are suddenly have been eroded gradually by this beating down and this revisionist history and this second guessing what it was like to be alive during the 18th century and dealing with forming a new country. And I am of course talking about Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was the third president of the United States, and he served from 1801 to 1809. He invented an incredible amount of things. He was absolutely instrumental to the foundation of what we call American democracy and a republic in this country. He was the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. He also facilitated the Louisiana Purchase from France, which essentially doubled the size of the America at that time, from the original 13 colonies to include a vast section of the middle of the United States. Of course, he bought it from Napoleon, who was busy wasting all his money on a war in Europe, which is something the United States did not want anything to do. Now, contrary to what people have heard about Jefferson, he was actually anti-slave trade. And I'm going to bring up letters where he actually wrote how he really wanted to accomplish that in his lifetime and in his presidency. But in addition to that, he founded the University of Virginia. Now, of course, if I remember correctly, they just took his statue down at the University of Virginia because apparently everybody is a racist, right? So,
apparently,
Tom,
weird.
No, it's crazy, right? It's not like it's Marxism, right? It's not like our entire educational and government system is infested with Marxists. That couldn't be happening, could it? But yes, Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. This is perhaps one of the greatest documents written in history, not just in modern history, for a variety of reasons, because it established the fact that individuals simply by existing had inalienable rights. And that was entirely what people fled Europe from, in a form of serfdom, which was either through the divine right of kings through monarchies or through outright dictators, which is exactly what the World Economic Fund is trying to put us all back to, those of us who lived through it at least. But he also drafted for the state of Virginia a statute of religious freedom. This was also incredibly important in why so many people fled from Europe as well as England to come to the United States to have religious freedom. Obviously, he was the third president of the United States. He also established the United States Military Academy. This guy did a lot of things.
That's what I like to hear.
Term. Yeah, so he established West Point, and this was on 1802. And in addition, we all know the Marine Corps came out of that. The Navy was first. The Army was, of course, there, the Continental Army. But yes, Jefferson doubled the size of the United States with the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, which was an incredible deal. And people said he will foolhardy for it because who needed that much land? And then, of course, from there, he went on to found and fund Lewis and Clark exploring what had never been explored before, which was crossing the entire continent of North America. Nobody knew how big it was. Nobody knew what was between the original 13 colonies and the Pacific Ocean. So these guys went out there. A lot of them didn't make it that were part of this party and made their way to the Pacifics and actually ended, I believe it was somewhere in Oregon or Washington, and made it back. Talk about a visionary. There's a lot of things I could talk about with Thomas Jefferson. I mean, to me, the Declaration of Independence, I think, and the Bill of Rights, which was really important, he was instrumental in documenting this Bill of Rights. And there was a huge pushback even then about how powerful should a central federal government be versus states' rights and what they should have. And they reached a kind of compromise with the Bill of Rights that exists within the Constitution itself. Number one thing, freedom of speech. It's funny how the number one thing under attack today is freedom of speech. You know why? Everything old is new again. Just going to say that. This is not my channel. But I just, one of the things they've done with revisionist history when we talk about SJWs or the woke or whatever you want to call it, I mean, they're really Marxists because they're destroying our history, not just on our entertainment, is they want to portray Thomas Jefferson as this pro-slavery dude. But in fact, actual scholarship, not just the same nitwits who, like that Tolkien scholar from the University of Glasgow who talked about taking the toxic whiteness out of Tolkien, those same type of knuckleheads are the ones who are deconstructing Thomas Jefferson. But in 1785, he said the whole, and I quote Thomas Jefferson, the whole commerce between master and slave is a perpetual exercise of the most boisterous passions, the most unremitting despotism on the one part, and degrading submissions on the other. He wrote another letter in 1788. He said, quote, "You know that nobody wishes more ardently to see an abolition, not only of the trade of slavery, but the condition of slavery. And certainly nobody will be more willing to encounter every sacrifice to enable that to happen." So in 1783, he submitted a bill to Congress that would have freed every slave in the United States in 1800. It was voted down. In 1807, during his second term as president, he signed into legislation the Atlantic Slave Trade Elimination Act, which outlawed the importation of African slaves to the United States. Although it did not end slavery, this piece of legislation highlighted Jefferson's very public and committed opposition to slavery. Jefferson also created the United States military. He did a whole bunch of things. He was an explorer, an inventor. He advanced agriculture, especially in the Americas. And I don't know, really inspirational person. So that's my hero.
Holy shit, man. That's all I can say. That was excellent. Thank you so much, man. You really went all in, dude. I loved that. I could sit here all night listening to it, but the first thing that I like as I was listening, I was like, oh man, he really did a lot. And then like you mentioned something else, and I'd be like, wow, he really did a lot. And then you'd like mention something else, and I'm like, holy shit, has this guy just done everything for our country?
I left a lot out. I left a lot out, but I mean, these are the important things, man.
It's toxic
to me.
Yeah. No, but he's toxic, dude. Like, and some of the stuff that you're talking about, like the fact that he proposed these things to end slave trade within the continental United States, and yet people shut it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's having his statue taken down. It makes no sense, but I love your in-depth telling of his story, man, because that is really, that's so special. Because we learn about this stuff in high school and middle school and everything, but to revisit this and really go into depth about like what is it that we need to know. But
do we really learn this stuff in high school and middle school?
We used to in the 80s. In the 80s, we did.
Do we really learn about this in college?
Yeah.
I mean, we did when again, I learned. This is the Thomas Jefferson I knew when they taught high school history to us, and I was, of course, in advanced placement history at that time in 88, 89. And this is the way it was taught. And it wasn't until after, because I taught high school for a number of years, and then I didn't like being poor and hated the proto SJW shitheads that were in the field. Look at what's happened to that field. But I mean, and I hear the things that people are saying, and I hear people that I went to college with who are professors now saying what they're saying, not just about Thomas Jefferson, but about our country.
Yep.
And about all of the founding fathers. And it's nothing but it's projection, it's delusion. And it's like, I can't do much about it, but I can sit here and I can say, by using Thomas Jefferson's own words, trying to defend him. Is it going to make a difference? No, but maybe somebody in chat will hear this and maybe rethink what they may have been taught incorrectly about Thomas Jefferson. So.
100%. I'm going to piggyback some of the stuff you talked about because when we were looking at heroes, I started to pick someone other than who I picked for the very basis of, I live in Texas, and we just had this whole scandal with the local school because it was titled Robert E. Lee, and it, it's racist. We can't have it titled Robert E. Lee. We got to take the statue down. We got to change the name. And it's like, you talked about people knowing their history and understanding their history and like actually understanding their history. And it's like, if you go back and you actually look at Robert E. Lee, the letters he wrote, his actual history, where what his personal stances were, he was someone that was also against slavery. When we went into the secession, he said, this is all but a lost cause. This shouldn't be what you're fighting for. And then he, of all people, was the one main person saying after the war, after the South Law, saying, hey, we need to make sure Black people get an education because we're integrating them into society and they need to be educated. And the North was against it.
Yes, they were.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. People don't know this.
There's
sorry.
You're good. I'm like fired up right now. Like I got chill bumps and I'm ready to like
good, dude. Me too, man. Roger that.
Politically, one of my heroes politically is a guy named Ron Paul, again, Texan. But I love Ron Paul because he's got this whole idea of like educate yourself and learn to think for yourself. But he's really big about, from his political standpoint, trying to educate people on processes and then recommending books to read. So I've read so much because of things that he's recommended. And if you ever want to get a good grasp of what history was actually like during that time period when they were trying to abolish slavery, there's a book called The Real Lincoln by Thomas de Lorenzo, I believe. Read it. You learn so much that our history books now just brush right over or represent in such a strange way that doesn't paint a good picture on the North and what they were doing. There were actually multiple bills that came up that would have abolished slavery before it was abolished. Lincoln actually stopped one of them from happening for the sake of getting elected. Like there's so much stuff to our history that we don't discuss and we don't talk about that I'm like, people should know this. Like if you understood this and knew it, you'd have such a different I guess perspective of our country.
Agreed.
Anyways, rant. Power. Thank you.
No, Josh, that is not a rant. That is you like adding to this legendary heroes conversation, brother. So thank you.
I love hearing that. Do you know how many times I wrote in Rand Paul's name in presidential elections?
Oh, this is his dad.
Just say that.
But yeah.
Oh, I mean, sorry, Ron Paul.
Ron Paul.
I have Rand on the brain. I was just reading his article. No, do you know how many times I've written in Ron Paul? And yeah.
I voted for Biden 30 times.
But you're not dead. Wait a minute, you're not dead. Zaxx.
And I'm not American. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's
Wait, how did you get all those ballots? Oh wait, were they sent to your house or how did
Somebody brought them over and they said, go to an old folks home and get people to fill these out. But I said, nah, so I'll do it myself. And so I did it myself and sent them all back. And I got $20 and a gift card to Arby's. So
somebody named Big Mike rolled up in a van with a couple boxes. Didn't
That's right.
You just
dude, where is Perch when you need him to?
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
To ban someone from one of our good friends, Perch is like adamant about throwing Arby's into the sun because he is just so not a fan. Man, chat, you guys have been amazing tonight. Thank you guys for all your comments. I love seeing this. And I know Punkwaddle said a little while ago here, he was talking about how he has just like been enthralled with this history lesson because that's essentially what it is. And Punk, I'm sorry, I can't find your comment right now, but it really is a history lesson. Like when I do this legendary heroes stuff, it's cool because we get to recognize the character, the nobility, the honor, the passion, the heroism of the people that we talk about, whether it be male or female, black or white. But it's also taking people like you guys, a lot of you guys have chosen actual historical characters. Like I was gonna, there are times where I've been like, fuck it, I'll just do Superman or something, which is, still something to aspire to. But these are actual people who existed, who actually made shit happen in their lifetime. And I wake up this morning, after a concert with my neck, all bent out of shape, half hungover still, and being like, what am I doing with my life? I look at Thomas Jefferson and he's over here, changing the state of the United States. Yeah, man, it's so inspiring because it's not just these heroes, it's the history behind them as well and what they did. So
can I add one more note real quick? Just
please
Salty
do.
Salty will get a good laugh out of this. So they did change the name of the school. It is not Robert Lee High School anymore because that was racist and he owned slaves. That's the reasoning. It is now Tyler High, named after John Tyler.
Are you kidding me?
No, I swear to God.
I don't know who John Tyler is.
President, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be like naming somebody Woodrow Wilson, the guy who got us into World War I, and then on the eve of World War I, Christmas Eve, they passed the temporary income tax. Federal income tax was temporary. It was only supposed to be for the top 3% of earners. Mm-hmm. And it was going to end as soon as World War I stopped. But you know why? Because income tax at the federal level is unconstitutional. Look that one up. It's fascinating. Fascinating, isn't it, guys? I'm gonna get assassinated now. I got to stop talking. Sorry.
Would that have anything to do with Eric July's taxation as theft?
Yes. Yeah. It's unconstitutional. The only reason federal income tax is allowed is because every new incoming president has to continue the emergency order that was in place from 1911 or 1915 or 14. They've been doing this shit every term. They have to announce it.
Archduke Franz Ferdinand had to be avenged, you guys. It had to happen. So I'm sorry. You still have an income tax. That's unconstitutional.
No, but what needed to happen
was shot, and it was mean.
The European banks needed to get into the United States, and it's funny how the European Bank is now the World Economic Fund. It's just one of those coincidences, isn't it? It's crazy.
I'm disappointed in this well-researched topic that Salty did. He failed to mention the fact that John Adams and Thomas Jefferson had one of the best newspaper flame battles against each other for the election of 1800, I think it is. And basically, Thomas Jefferson hires a guy to call John Adams a hermaphrodite. So if you ever think politicians were so much holier than thou back then, imagine if our founding fathers had Twitter. It would be rancid. And I'm all for it.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And imagine how politely he probably said it too, or how
it's so funny that what Josh was talking about with, and I didn't want to bring it up, but they were harshing on Robert E. Lee, but then John Tyler was so pro-slavery as a president. And the dude almost got impeached, and it's like, how ignorant are people? It's just like, you're morons. You know what I mean? It's like getting upset that the Dukes of Hazzard's General Lee Charger had the Confederate battle flag on it. It's like, and the Cleveland Indians, got to change the Cleveland Indians name? Got to change the Washington Redskins name? Now, has everything been solved? Have we solved all these? No, didn't do anything. It's crazy.
I feel better, though.
Yeah, but you're a dick.
Good, as you should. Real quick before we get to our next hero, let's get to 4 quick super chats. First one from Cajun Corey Rourke. Cajun, I know you got to head out, and I know that this super chat was actually not meant for me. I saw you in the comments, but thank you for the super chat anyway. He meant to send this to the Geeks and Gamers crew right now that are doing their live stream, but he gave it to me, so I'm honored. Thank you for the $1.99, Cajun. He said, Mike banned me for being Cajun, which has no relevance here, but like I said, thank you for the $1.99, Cajun. So I appreciate it. And then we have one from the magnificent Magitech Mags. She says, for $5 as a Virginian, I'm a big fan naturally. Visit my state sometime, and there are plenty of awesome historical places to see, like Monticello. Mags, so when I was in Virginia, part of our training was actually we spent a weekend studying the battle at Gettysburg, I believe it was, and we visited all the different historical monuments, and we were planning and plotting tactics and stuff on the battlefield. It was beautiful, and I forget if it was Gettysburg or not, but there was one of those battles where it was just open field for like a mile stretch of land, and they were just creeping closer and closer and closer together. So yes, thank you for the super chat, and your state is beautiful. I have fond memories of training, and maybe I guess I shouldn't say fond. I remember them, but some of them aren't great. But so thank you for that, and I'll give you one of these.
I'll dance with you.
We have another super chat from Ian Soforth for 17.99 pounds, which is proper money. He says, "This is a dubious one, but Jefferson is sometimes still credited with one of my favorite political political quotes." That's how you spell it. Same with color, right? He says, "A government big enough to give you everything you need is big enough to take everything you have." Oh shit, Ian Soforth. He didn't say it, but it's actually one of my favorite bumper stickers, and I've had it for probably 30 years now. I every time I've moved, I keep it up on my pegboard, and I've had it for years, and it's all true. You know, dependency. If you have to be dependent, then they can take it away.
Yep.
Maybe
that's happening a little bit now. Interesting.
I can't, I may be a little bit biased since I'm in California. But I think we're all seeing it across all of our different states, except for you, I think. I mean, you see it. It's just a little bit south of you.
Canada.
Let's hold around the circle here and say what's on our pegboard.
I don't think it's that type of pegboard, Flaccid.
Right.
It's a different type of peg. It's a different kind of pegging than you're used to, Flaccid.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
So Ian Soforth, thank you for the 17.99, brother. Let's get a good one up here. All up in here.
I am iron. I am wrath. I am
doom. And the last one from Magitech Mags, again for another $5. Thank you, Mags. You're so kind. And by the way, happy belated birthday. She says, visit St. John's Church in Richmond, where Patrick Henry did his famous speech. The cemetery has Declaration of Signers in there. Declarations. Oh, like signatures in there? Is that what you meant to say, Max? The cemetery have Declaration Signers in there. Huh. That is really cool. That sounds so interesting. I feel like that whole state is just filled with history, right? But, all right. Well, Mags, for you, I'll give you one of these.
That looks racist to me.
It does.
That just looks racist.
Yeah,
it works.
I feel like there's some kind of like CGI body, conversation going on with that too.
Yeah. It's also what we're seeing in She-Hulk, right? Yeah. The other it's very toxic because, as you can see, it's a very strapping CGI man who is his skin color is different and everything, beating up another different orc. So it's very toxic for sure.
They never talk about the orc on orc crime. Yeah.
I also noticed that as I was talking, my shirt is very toxic because it literally says man, and then on the sleeves it's also just man all the way across the sleeve here.
Take it off.
So
you're the poster. You're the poster child of the patriarchy tonight, Max. I love it. I love it.
I do what I can. Flaccid, what was that? I think I might have heard in one of my ears to take off the shirt. Is that what?
Oh, that wasn't me. That's somebody else. But
maybe
it's just go that sentiment.
That's why I was covering my mouth.
No, that's right. Josh was.
That's
or maybe
3 to 2 votes to take off the shirt, Max. I don't know what you do now, but
yeah.
Who's the third? Is that?
$100.
Well,
Make it
the
happen.
$100 will get me to bring the silkies out. I don't know. Or I do have some whiskey in the kitchen here. So
yeah.
no vodka though, unfortunately.
Oh.
So we've done. Would it be? I don't know. I kind of want to leave Zaxx. I kind of want to leave yours for last. Is that cool? So we'll go
Yep.
Josh and then Kyle.
Sure. Yep.
Because Josh, I think yours actually would kind of piggyback well off of Salty's.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. So just in general, like my relationship with Max kind of, started based on comic books. And typically when we discuss things, it's involving comic books. So I wanted to kind of take a comic book slant with this. And I went with more of a soft power type leader. But I picked Stetson Kennedy, and a lot of people don't know who this is, but he's actually a writer and archivist that's known for collecting and pulling together a lot of like American folk and American folklore and getting it into the National Library of Congress, so we can have a history there. But I picked him, and the reason I'm picking him as a hero is in the 40s when we were going to World War II, he tried to go to war and was rejected because of back issues. So he felt like less of a man because he couldn't go and he wanted to do something. Yeah. So he actually signed up to try to help the Georgia Bureau of Investigations with whatever they needed him to do. And his assignment was actually to go undercover into different organizations and bring them down. One of the ones that he went into was a group called the Colombians, which were actual Nazis, not Nazis like we talked about today, but actual Nazis that were here in the United States. So he infiltrated them. But one of the other things that he did was he infiltrated the KKK, and he's looked at as being the person with the single most responsibility for getting information about the Ku Klux Klan out, their codes, the rituals, the practices, getting specifics on some of the acts that they had done, whether it was murdering people or going against households. But he did that, and then afterwards he wrote a memoir and pushed it out. So there was a lot of like progress that was made here doing these things, but he still didn't feel like he got what he did out to enough people. So in 1946, he contacted the producers of the Superman radio show, The Adventures of Superman, and he helped them write a 16-episode series of Superman taking on the KKK. Yes. And in that series, he went ahead and revealed everything that he had learned and kind of got that out to the masses. So what was just kind of a centralized Georgia, even though he did work with the FBI as well, kind of like a Georgia type focused event, became a national event that hit 4 million homes. And it's looked at as being one of the big reasons that the KKK did not reach its full resurgence in the 40s. So I thought that was pretty cool that we got to use Superman to stop the KKK.
That's awesome.
That's badass.
Oh,
yeah.
So muted.
Sorry, my mic was muted.
Okay, so Flaccid keeps telling me this Stinson guy is I thought he was saying day trader, but it was not quite day trader he was saying.
No, I was saying
Stetson.
I was saying Ezra Miller should be noted for his takedown of the KKK. That's what I was saying.
I love it.
Oh man, yeah, because obviously he's done more than Stetson here.
Right.
Which
good name too. That name is amazing,
dude. Right, yeah. Stetson
Dude.
Kennedy, like that's a freaking
strong
awesome
ass name.
Yeah.
Another really cool like side note thing about Stetson Kennedy. I look, this is one of the main cool things about him. The guy's a liberal, so we can only praise him too much. But the musician, the singer Woody Guthrie, who wrote "This Land Is Our Land," actually wrote a song about Stetson Kennedy called Stetson Kennedy. So cool stuff. Cool things.
I love it, man. The great thing about Stetson here is one. Well, there are three things that like mainly that stuck out to me when you were talking about him, because I've never heard of him before, which is it's crazy. Like another reason why I'm like, dude, we need to do more stuff like this so we can hear more about these guys. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that stuck out was the fact that he still felt unfinished in his job. Like he still felt like he needed to get more out to the people, that he needed to do more, that he wanted to continue to help. Whereas like, as Flaccid stated earlier, fucking Ezra Miller thinks that he makes a video on Twitter and he's done his part. You know, I'll tweet out something, I'll do my part, or I'll change my profile picture to a flag. I've done my part, which is just the most bullshit thing I've ever heard. When you hear about Stetson and he's like infiltrating like actual evil people and doing shit that none of these other people would ever dream of, you know? So I love the fact that he still was like trying to do more, when in this day and age, people think that posting a flag means that I've done my part. The other thing I love about him is the fact that he incorporated all his knowledge into Superman, which tells you how much of an icon Superman was to people. Because if he utilized that to promote it through Superman, it means that people were watching the show, and that he thought that he would be able to influence other people through this like iconic character. So yeah, man, I forgot what my third point was, but those two alone, maybe the third point was just how badass his name was. But those three things, Stetson Kennedy, is really why I like him.
You know, there's interesting things if you go in the details of what he did too. Like, there are clearly other people that were involved with what he was doing because he was going through the Georgia Bureau of Investigations and also partnering with the FBI. But his like recollection of kind of like what the KK was actually like was he referred to it as like a little boys club, and he referred to like what was happening as, you know, like these are the action of children, and then he would say, but it's very sadistic and dangerous children, and I thought that was interesting. But he talks about, at one point he talks about the foresight of understanding the foresight of understanding the reason he did the Superman radio show was because it was targeted towards kids. And he knew that we have a generation that understands this now, but we need the next generation to understand. And that's why he went that route, because it was going to be something that carried on and grew. But it's really cool. I think the series is called the Superman versus the Clan of the Burning Cross or something. But you can actually look up all 16 episodes on YouTube if you ever want to check them out.
Yeah, so. In the late horror show, actually, I think has that series broken out. It's in one of the longer runs where with the Superman radio show where it's just him fighting the Klan. I just wanted to say two things about what you said. This is absolutely fascinating. Obviously, everybody knows the Klan. Everybody knows how terrible they were. It was an insidious threat to this country before World War II and during World War II were these Nazi sympathizers. The Colombians were just one group, and that was based down south. They were all along the western and eastern seaboards. What was fascinating is a lot of these groups actually were financed by American industrialists that really liked the idea of fascism, that really liked the merger of government and industry deciding what was good for the people. That appealed to a lot of people, and there's a lot of American name brands, and I won't mention them here, that thought that guy with the funny mustache in World War II had some really good ideas, you know? And the fact that this guy went undercover and went into that, you know, like that was gloves are off. It was espionage. It was straight up espionage and propaganda and a lot of stuff with those people, not to take anything away from how terrible the Triple K dudes were, you know? The second thing I want to say about the Triple K things is your characterization of them. I remember reading that. It's just funny how those same dipshits that were out there in Black Bloc, in Portland, in Seattle, in San Francisco, in Chicago, in New York, in New Jersey, in Philadelphia, that were mostly peacefully burning down cities, fit the same caricature as those people in the KKK.
Absolutely.
Interesting, isn't it?
When you said a guy with a weird mustache, you're talking about Groucho Marx?
No, I think he's talking about Geraldo.
Yeah, he's talking about Tom Selleck. Come on, guys.
Tom Selleck has the most epic mustache ever. No, it was Mussolini's buddy, the little Austrian guy. So,
Charlie Chaplin.
There you go.
That's the dude. Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah. Chuck and his buddy Al Dalton.
Guys, thank you so much for your input on this. And this is one that, like, stuff like this, because it's topical for 2022, but it's also so inspiring for his time, right? And like we always talk about, our entertainment needs to be timeless as opposed to timely. all these guys that I'm seeing constantly that everyone on the panel has talked about, these are men and women who are timeless. Their actions will be seen throughout history. Whereas a lot of the people, what they're doing now is very timely. It's of this era, it's of this time. And stuff that like Stetson Kennedy is doing, this shit is going to be timeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's important for us to talk about it now. So thanks again for bringing it up, Josh. I think it's not only is it a great name, but it's a really inspiring person. Before we get to Kyle, and I'm sorry to have you as last, brother.
You're not sorry.
I've got Magitic Mags. Mags, it's your birthday. You need to hang on to this money for cake. What are you doing? She sends 1776 with the dope ass sunglasses. Thank you. Hail to 1776. I don't have any patriotic clips for that, but I'll do like a quick little anecdote that Roman's going to hate me for. But 1775 was the birth of the Marine Corps, and the reason why we were born in 1775 was because the Navy needed snipers on their ships. So they found the fucking drunk, messed up Marines that were in the bars, and they came in and they were like, hey, we know that you guys are like sharpshooters. We need you to sit up in the crow's nest for us while we, are docking and doing all these different things, and we need you to protect us during these times. So the fucking drunkards were like, sure, we'll do it. And they got up on the crow's nest picking people off, and they were our sharpshooters, and that's how we got the Marine Corps. But that was back in 1776 or 1775 over at Tun Tavern. That's cool. So fun little fact. So thank you, Mags. That is so kind of you. I know you're trying to get to 100 so that I can take my shirt off, but we just won't talk about that. I'll give you this one.
I bid you stand, man of the West.
Chills every time. And then this actually doesn't show up on StreamYards, and it doesn't show up on Ecamm Live either, which both are just wonky. But Ian So Forth gifted 5 gifted memberships. So wow. Dude, nice, thank you so much. That is badass. Ian, you've been on top of it tonight, so thank you, brother. And welcome to all the new members. That's great. You guys are going to see I'll either post it tonight or later this week. You guys are going to see my concert footage. So all the members will get to see some live concert footage from when we were over at the Coheed concert. So thanks again, guys. That's so generous, Ian. And for you, I'll give you this one.
Up into the overtime keel. Come on, with a heart of steel. Cold is the ocean spray. Your death is on its way.
Rosie, I think we've all been bullied to be fit or to be stuffed into a locker at some point. I'm sorry if you have also been there, but I think as nerds, as geeks, I think we can all say at one point in time we've been stuffed in a locker. So
do they still do swirlies? Do you guys remember swirlies from back in the day?
They don't do them. No,
they don't do them anymore.
Yeah.
For those of you
Zaxx
who have
confirm.
not given or gotten a swirly, it is not something wonderful that happens with you and your lady. It is actually when you get jumped in the bathroom, or sorry, Josh, with your boyfriend. It's something that happens. It's like you literally get your head stuffed in a toilet and they flush it. This is what they did in the 80s. This is what they did to people, and I was there. I never had it done to me. I just would walk into the bathroom and see assholes doing that to little nerds, and then things would happen. But yeah, you guys don't know how easy you have it now, man. The 80s were.
I don't know. According to 13 Reasons Why, people get the mop handle shoved up their butt now. So
Oh Jesus!
It's Ezra Miller's house on every weekend.
Yeah.
What was that address again?
I've also heard.
I'm gonna write that.
1600 Pennsylvania.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Just ask for Sleepy Joe. He'll hook you up. Don't worry.
Oh no. I've also heard. Everyone's heard of the atomic wedgie. It's so atomic that it goes over the head.
Yes.
Yeah, but
insane.
Max, we know, as long as you bench 300 pounds, you're fine, right? I mean, that's what I did in high school, and I was fine. So
Yeah, I mean, well, because everyone's going around going,
Yeah.
"How much you bench, bro?
Yeah,
How
that's
much
right.
you bench, bro?"
when you're an offensive lineman, it's really hard to get
Yeah,
to get underneath you. You
That's
know
right.
how to deal with people.
that's very true.
You're
Well,
a bottom.
your whole
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything?
I'm just saying.
He's a
compliment,
power.
really.
He's a power
Thank you.
bottom. Yeah, if you're a
Oh
power
my
bottom, you gotta
God.
the power is generated there. So the the bench thing is funny because Zaxx, when you had mentioned earlier about when we were talking about and this is going back to our last conversation about Sophia Namveti and how she continually says like, "Oh, I'm the first female dwarf, first female dwarf, first female." It's like constantly, incessantly, just that's all she can say. I think about those guys who are in the gym who will be like, you bump into them and without asking or prompting or anything, they'll go, "I bench like 225, bro." They're like, "Oh, I bench like 315, bro." And you're like,
Yeah.
"I didn't ask. Like I totally didn't ask." Or they'll be like, "I'm like the first one to bench 315 for my weight class." And you're like, "No, you're not. Like, dude, bro, so many other guys have benched 315. Like, you're not the only one here." So,
Or the guy that kind of is
I-
walking around, knows where every mirror is. You can see it as he's like,
Oh,
turning
yeah.
around to look. His eye
Oh,
contact,
yeah.
and he's just looking at
He's
himself.
doing
It's,
this.
it's great.
he's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
puffs the shoulders back a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got to get those angles, man. It's like,
True.
how do you think those OnlyFans hoes like get those angles?
You don't want to look like a
It's,
bitch
uh,
at one angle, so you got to hit that muscle group. He's just looking.
Did you guys see that OnlyFans chick that stabbed her boyfriend to death after beating the hell out of him on
Oh my
video camera?
God.
Oh,
What do you-
No.
What did he say?
This is going to shock you. It was in New Jersey, but it, I mean, just too many. Just stay off OnlyFans.
I
Get a
heard
skill.
about it.
Go to community college, ladies. Just don't do that. So,
I heard about it, but I never actually saw anything about. Like, I didn't actually read the article or anything. Salty has given me a clip so that we can actually share this with.
That's why I was off camera. I was working some magic. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's see here. So this is actually perfect because, oh my God, Mags is on fire tonight. Same with Silverlock and Mags. Let me get to yours first because I think that this is appropriate. For $5, she says, "Max, my granddad was a Marine in World War II, Philippines and Korea, chosen reservoir. Mad respect for Marines. Semper Fi." Mags, Semper Fi to you. And hey, that is like, I shared the other day, I don't have the book with me, but I shared my grandpa's telling of his time at Tarawa. And some of those stories are absolutely haunting, but Chosen Reservoir and Flaccid, I know you can resonate with this as well, but Chosen Reservoir was beaten into my head as one of the most fucking hardcore marches. Like it was just a death march at the Chosen Reservoir. Yeah. It was so cold. The conditions were so miserable that the odds were against them for so long. So Mags, hail to you and your granddad, and thank you for his service. But
Chosen baby.
Let me go ahead.
Yeah, I wonder if he got away with all of his toes. I can only imagine the damage that the environment itself did to him.
Because the other thing too that I heard from that was that, and I need to research it again, but from what I remember learning in our classes in the Marine Corps was that they weren't given the proper winter attire, even though Chosen Reservoir was like the coldest of cold, and the Marines only had like standard weather gear. So like it was
That's about right.
Start. That's par for the course of the Marine Corps. So yeah, let me go ahead and we get the hand-me-downs of everyone. I'll play this for Mags. Thank you again, Mags. That's really kind of you.
There we go.
Wow, that's epic. I can only I wish that's what I did in the Marine Corps, but it's not at all.
You supervised that guy doing the badass stuff.
I told him to go do that. Yeah. I said, grab the flag and go charge the field. That's how I did that. That's too funny. And then I've got one more from Silverlock. Dude, thank you so much. He says, I need to go, not a hero, but wanted to mention a friend who died last year. Angel Sword, aka Daniel Watson, master swordsmith and Renaissance man. He forged the blade from Crocodile Dundee. Whoa. He was cool. I miss him. Wow, Silverlock. Well, RIP and rest in peace to Angel Sword, Daniel Watson. And thank you for sharing that, Silverlock. I'm sorry that he's gone, but it sounds like he had a fantastic life and one that is very memorable. So, master swordsmith and Renaissance man. How awesome! Yeah, that's awesome. That is a true skill.
I've got his link with the picture. I'll give it to you. Yeah, we might as well do this. It's actually pretty damn amazing. Here you go.
Let's see here. Wow. Whoa.
Nice work.
Daniel Watson, first embraced swords, has a martial artist. This is one reason why angel swords, when held, feel like no other blade. Wow.
Hail to him. Wow. And rest in peace. Dude, Silverlock, thank you for bringing that up, brother. I can only hope that we are doing him a good service by honoring him tonight with all these other legendary heroes. So, and thank you for your donations tonight, man. Speaking of master swordsmen, I'll give you a one of the finest in all of the lands.
Yeah.
All right, Zaxxy. Is that what they call you?
Sure. Yeah. You can call me that if you want. Nice.
No, I think who is it? Is it
good.
Six? That Six calls you Zaxxy, I think. That's where I've heard it from.
She calls me lots of things. All of them are good. All of them are good. Okay. So I am talking. Coincidence that I'm talking about the only person of color on the panel here. Just saying.
Calling us out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's okay. I'm going to talk about Sergeant Tommy Prince, who you guys have probably never heard of, but he was born in Manitoba. He's a descendant of the great Chief Pegwis, who's a big deal here. And when he was in 1940, he enlisted in the military, World War II. Before that, he was in residential school because we were kind of shitty at the time. And finished that, joined the military, who was a sapper at first, quickly moved up to become a member of the 2nd Canadian Parachute Battalion because we didn't have good names for stuff at that point. And so that's what they called him. And then moved on from that. He became one of the first members of the 1st Special Service Force, which was the origination of the Special Forces or Special Operations Forces now. So all modern Special Forces come from that route. And it was a combination of Canadian and American soldiers, mostly American, but lots of Canadians sprinkled in for flavor. And they trained in Fort Benning, and they were first put into use in Italy, going after the Winter Line. So in World War II, if you know nothing about it, this may be a bit boring, but they go through Italy, assaulting the Winter Line. He becomes one of their main recon. He becomes Sergeant Recon Scout, and he's sort of the lead guy. And he actually he wears his moccasins when he's out on patrol. And he was part of the reason that this group was first called the Black Brigade. That was their own nickname they gave themselves, not because they were racist, but because they actually went blackface. Some of them at night would go blackface, leave camp, and go to the enemy camps with only their knives. And they would kill some of them if they could, but they would also leave them notes, take their boots, take their coats, whatever they could get, and then leave that night so that they knew every night they're being visited by these guys. And they would never get caught. And so they were given their final name, which is the more famous name, by the Germans themselves, who in their journals had called them the Devil's Brigade because they would come at night. And so he was part of the Devil's Brigade, and he was known as the Ghost.
Badass.
Super badass.
Dude, how much of a badass do you have to be to taunt your prey? To basically be not taunt, but I guess just show that how skilled you are to be able to take their stuff and leave and get out of it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
And leave them notes.
Yeah.
We were here. We didn't kill
the ultimate psych warfare. You're never asleep.
Yes.
You're never safe. You know?
Yeah.
And when your enemies name you, you're doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the group, actually. This is the Devil's Brigade. And so he went on to make
name too, yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. Like the whole thing is, this guy is super, super badass. And so he's one of only 3 Canadians, and we sent like 1 million people over there who won the American Silver Star and the English or British Military Medal. And so what he did was, in the Winter Line Assault, there was a mountain they were trying to get up, and they had to get through to the other defenses, but it was super well fortified. And so what he did was, he went up with another group of guys. He left them back, and he went in emplacement by himself with his knife and killed the gunners. All night long, he went up this mountain, killing all these German gunners in the machine gun nests and the artillery. He killed enough of them so that the next day they could make an assault with 600 guys through that area he cleared. So that was like his early duties, this guy. So he didn't get a medal for that. They got a group medal for that. Which was the Mount Maggio medal. And so after clearing through that, his next medal was earned when he was in Italy. He was this is a really cool story. He was scouting 200 meters from a German camp and marking their artillery placements and calling them back to headquarters so we could return fire accurately. And they did this via phone because they still had phone lines. And so he was in this abandoned farmhouse by himself. And during the artillery exchanges, the field gets bombed, and so the phone lines get cut, and so he's alone with no way to communicate. And so what does he do? He goes out dressed as a farmer, acts like he's weeding all day in the field, and he's yelling at both sides the whole time, shaking his fist and stuff. And when he finds where the wire has been cut, he goes down and acts like he's tying his shoelace, repairs the line, goes back inside, and they commence firing again because now he knows where they are. Like the balls to do that. That's nuts.
Bots,
that is
anybody get that in chat? Sorry, I'll take care of it.
I think Roman he said bots defeated. I don't know if that's metaphorically or
you got him. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Thank you, mods. Yeah, so keep going, Zaxx, because just the hill, the charging of the hill alone warrants like a legendary hero. But the fact that then he has this rap sheet, it's like all these guys have this rap sheet of like and then. So keep going.
And for the ones where he's awarded medals, it's cool because they actually have an official record of it, of what happened. It's not just stories. I mean, they're still stories, but so the next 24 hours they knocked out 4 German batteries, and for that he got the military medal from King George VI, I think it was. He was awarded that after. Then he sent ahead with head towards Rome and into France, and he was working with the 1st Airborne Task Force. And him and another guy went through to try to get some reconnaissance done. They come across French partisans who are surrounded by Germans. It's him and one private, and so they take up sniping positions and they start taking out Germans until the Germans pull out and flee, saving the French. And when they finally come out of hiding, him and this private, the French commander says, like, "Where's the rest of you guys?" And he says, "It's just this one, just me and him."
Oh shit!
Yeah. So this was on their way to the mission. This wasn't their mission. So when this happened, he was that commander requested he be granted the Croix de Guerre, which is a big French medal, and it was sent to Charles de Gaulle, but the messenger died on the way, and so he didn't get it. Which I guess is a thing that happens. So then this is the rest of that same mission. Him and that dude go on, and they trek for 72 straight hours with no food across 70 kilometers of mountains in his moccasins, and he observes and they scout a whole German battalion, and because of that they're captured without much of a battle, and they end up taking 1,000 men POWs from that one, and so for that he's granted the Silver Star.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. Finished World War II, comes home, lives, gets his medals. He got 13 total medals, and then
oh my god,
comes home to Manitoba and starts a business ends up going to work for the government, try to get more rights for indigenous people. While he's gone, his buddies sell his business and all of his equipment for scrap. So he joins the military again and goes to fight in Korea.
Wow.
And while he's in Korea, he is at the Battle of Kapyong, which I don't know if you guys have heard of that one, but 700 Canadians were blocking a pass from North to South Korea. And for 48 hours, they held off and fought 20,000 Chinese and North Koreans.
God.
Yeah. And so I have a picture of the valley here I can pull up, and it's like, it's unbelievable. See, he was part of that too, and so he got the Kapyong medal for that as well. And eventually his knees went out, and so what he did was he had to go back home, but he rehabbed his knees and he went back to Korea again, and so he's a bit of a super stud. Here we go. So that's the valley they defended, and I guess they were told that they would never try to come through there, so not to expect any issue. And so instead of not coming through there, the Chinese sent everyone they had. We'll just send more, right? That's the idea. They didn't care so much, and no, and so they held them off there for 2 days, and they got eventually support. And if not, they would have got into South Korea, and who knows where that would have gone. So this guy, just one guy, unfortunately comes home, and later in life he ended up homeless. He was an alcoholic, didn't get any support. He sold his medals, which have since been tracked down mostly and repurchased and recovered for his family. But like, he gave everything for everyone and ended up kind of with nothing. But now they're trying, there's a big movement to get him on the $5 bill. So in Canada,
that would be cool.
Yeah. Lots of stuff named after him. He's now taught, like, we now know who he was, thankfully, that's come out. But one thing about this too is my grandfather fought in World War II. And so I didn't think about this till later, but he was very much his language was never great, but he was never racist at all. And you think those older guys would be. And he would always say, like, about indigenous people, well, that's who you want beside you. Like, so they got to know each other and these different populations who otherwise maybe wouldn't have, and maybe don't now. But there they all were thrown together and said, here, you're going to go fight this great enemy together. And so they had that bond that then they come home with, and then they have that mutual respect that he had that maybe others don't. That's my story.
Dude, the sheer courage, like when I hear about, like, everyone's story has like some characteristics that I'm like, oh, nobility or honor. But when I hear about the story that you're talking about with this guy, I just think sheer courage, the balls on this man, the absolute balls on this dude to charge these hills or be part of these missions where it's like the odds are against him in almost every one of these missions, you know?
Yeah.
It's so rad. And it's unfortunate because the first legendary heroes that I did with the boxer, and I'm blanking on his name now, Joe Louis. Joe Louis, when he was because he enlisted in the army after he had become a world heavyweight champion. And when he enlisted in the army, he would still fight, but all of his proceeds would go to like veteran assistance, like stuff. But what happened is they still taxed him for that money.
Of course they
so
did.
I know, right? So by the time that he was in his probably 50s or 60s, he had no money because it all had been taxed, and he was still trying to pay it off. So same thing, man, where these legendary heroes are just fucking taken advantage of, and their money's gone. They die with pennies. So.
Yeah.
But it would be pretty honorable, like you said, to put them on the $5 bill. Do you think they're going to do it? Is Canada talking about it right now?
Yeah, there's a big push for it. And it should happen. And the story has been covered enough now that it probably will. But yeah, he definitely deserves it. And I think that's a good symbol too for Canada, like as a united country, to do something like that. We're foolish not to have done it already, really.
Who's on the $5 bill right now?
It's not Johnny McDonald anymore. They changed
Wayne
it to somebody
Gretzky.
else.
That's
Wayne
Gretzky's
Gretzky.
name.
Wayne Gretzky. And then
Roman. Go ahead.
No, they changed the $10 to a civil rights activist. So I don't see why they can't change.
Oh,
Clap to him.
Roman, thank you so much for being here, brother. Thank you for supporting. Have a fantastic night. And real quick, Zaxx, this super chat is actually for you from Paul Bussell for $5. He says, supporting Zaxx is my grandfather fought in the CEF. I don't know what that Canadian
Expeditionary Force.
Okay.
Yeah.
In World War
My great grandfather
proud to
did
be
too.
Related.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Paul, thank you for sharing that, brother. And thanks for the $5.
Actually, Paul, that means they could have very easily fought together because that's where we're from.
There you go. And maybe have been lovers.
Maybe.
Oh, Jesus.
Donate to my Patreon, guys.
Hey, I'll say this. When it gets cold out there, I'm huddling up with my fellow. If my staff sergeant's next to me or my fellow lieutenant, you got to do what you got to do.
The first thing you do is you grab that MRE heater, shove that down your pants, and then
that does not work whatsoever.
It does work. It burns, but you know what? It's better than freezing. So
I'm surprised your balls still have some stuff left in them because there's some weird those MRE packages. I would, you know what I would do? I'd put it in my flak. Like I'd put it right in between my flak and my chest, and that would kind of heat me up. And I'd put my hands in there. But even still, man, it didn't really work that much. Clinton says it works, but damn, you got to watch out for that heat, especially putting it by your balls, man. But for those who've never had an MRE, it's how you heat your dog food, essentially.
Yeah.
I call it your dog food. It's your rations that you get while in the field.
They pretend that hot dog food somehow better than cold dog food. It's the same. It just takes longer to make.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you put it up against a rock or something, you should be fine. So Paul says from the $5 for Zaxx. Thank you so much for this, brother. Let me go ahead and play a clip.
I am iron. I am wrath. I am doom.
And for $4.99 from Monopoly Loser says, this has been fascinating to listen to tonight. Great show. Dude, thank you so much, Monopoly. I appreciate that. That is kind of what I wanted tonight, was like these excellent panel members to talk about some of their favorite heroes, because I think it's just such a cool concept. We always talk about our entertainment and how much of an escape it is for us, but I also think it's nice to when we hear about reality, because there are heroes in our own reality that we can kind of escape to. So I love hearing that, because a lot of our because when you think about it, a lot of our fantasy heroes are based off of real people. At least I would assume so. I mean, that's how I would think. And Josh, I think when you would write, I would assume that's kind of how you pull from characteristics that you see and stuff. But
absolutely, yeah.
So Monopoly, thank you for that. I'll give you this one.
No mercy!
Dr. Rachel says, cuddle time. Do what you got to do, but don't enjoy it too much. No, you have to enjoy it too much. Yeah.
There's a rule in the UCMJ. As long as there's boot bands on, you can't be illegally charged with anything.
Mags, she says, I love this show. First time being here. Oh, I didn't know that, Mags. I thought you had been here before. She says, I love the positive, real heroes in history. Thank you. No, Mags, thank you. You have been on top of it with the super chats tonight. And Rachel says, great chat tonight. Thanks for talking about these true heroes. Thank you, Rachel. Thanks for always supporting us, and not only with financially, but just you're always here in the chat, and we love seeing that. So for you guys, I will give you one of the best movies of all time.
I bid you stand! Men of the West!
Can I make a request just because I'm a channel member? I'm one of your top tier channel people.
Yeah. You are actually for what, 3-4 months now, something like that.
Yeah. Can you bring on a bunch of toxic women to talk about who they consider to be heroes, not just us guys?
Wow.
Because I would really love to hear people like Magitech Mags, who we hung out for like an hour and a half after our members stream last night. Maybe we were drinking a little bit, but
She's
a lot
awesome.
of us did. She is awesome, but I think there's a lot of women in this fandom that I think I would love to hear talk about who they consider to be heroes. Because, and again, not to make this about me, but in doing the Fire of Fandom videos, I'm meeting women who I only see their names in chats, and they're talking to me. They're telling me about their fandom one-on-one. And it's been one of the most amazing experiences I've been honored to do. And I'm going to be September 1st, I'm going to be doing it with ThatTuggLife. She's finally going to she has some time. So I'm going to get her as well. But Magitech Mags, Tolkien Tidbits, Purple Valkyrie, Rosie Gamgees, all of these people, you see all these names in chats. It would just be so awesome to hear who they consider to be a historical figure that is a hero over them. So
yeah, I'm that would be spicy. We'd get canceled. We're gonna do a ladies night coming up next Monday or next Sunday. No, I'm kidding.
Too good at that.
Dude, my accent is actually really good if you considering that that's like a good portion of California. I've gotten really used to it.
Yep.
West Hollywood, baby.
Yeah, no. The ladies' night would actually be pretty fun. I've considered doing like because you've got like the Simpcast, which is like a lot of the OnlyFans whatever, but you've got like Poor Choices, which has like more dating topics and like more things that are like relevant to kind of everyone. And then you have like Alasia's stream where she does the Literary Soul Sisters, and she also does the femininity one where she talks about like in depth about reclaiming femininity, because she she's so passionate about that, and I love those. So that would be kind of interesting to kind of get all of those different mixes into it, into this discussion, into this conversation, because I know they're out there. I know that the ladies would love to actually have their voice be heard, talking about some of these other like freaking dope ass ladies in history.
That's it. I mean, that's it. I mean, not just the stuff that we have shoved down our throat by the media, but who do actual women in this fandom consider to be heroes? And there may not be other women. It could be men. It could be women, but I think it would just be fascinating to get more takes on this. But
yeah, I would agree. It would be fascinating. However, it's important to note that their opinions don't matter. So as much as it'd be interesting, end of the day, it doesn't matter, girls.
Well, considering that you probably would forget their birthday too, or their names.
Wow.
Yeah, the ladies are in full force tonight. We've got a good.
They are.
Yeah, Poor Choices Weekend Edition. I'd be honored. Talking about my voice a little bit, but Rachel, I think she had also said that she would be things would get toxic, that she'd get canceled. Hey,
come on my
Star
channel
Wolf.
then. Come on my channel. I love toxic getting canceled stuff.
Absolutely. Lone Star, thanks for becoming a member, sir. I appreciate that, brother. Always good seeing you here. Lone Star, I hope to see you in Vegas soon, because I know I remember seeing you in Dallas. Had a good time there. So here you go, brother. Yeah, Ian so forth. The women would make the MAXS Man Cave into the... I couldn't. There's the MSHU, but I don't have a good other name for a MAXS Man Cave She takeover. She-Hulk edition.
Max's Kitchen. Unleashed. There you go.
There it is. Flaccid already named it for me. Thank you.
Welcome, ladies.
Wow,
man, I wish we could do more, and I wish that we could talk more about what properties you guys would love to either film or write or create, and maybe we can do that for another stream. So if anyone's watching this on the repeat, put it down in the comment section below if that is something you guys would be interested in, hearing all these fine gentlemen talking about a film or a book or something that they would like to create that is wholly new, or to take a property, an already existing property, and how they would do it differently. Because I think that would also be that in itself would probably take 2 hours. It's because it's like a writer's room, essentially, just bumping ideas off each other.
There's so many one-off fantasy books that have come out since the 50s in science fiction too, that man, not with Hollywood we have today. It would have to be independently funded and run by someone who is an enlightened despot like Peter Jackson was. But I can think of one book off the top of my head that I would absolutely give anything to have somebody make it as lovingly as Peter Jackson did the Tolkien series. And I think we need to talk about this, really.
Yeah, no, I agree, brother. I think what you said is extremely important, and also why your Fire the Fandom series is so important, because we're hearing voices of people who are so creative and have such a large vocal presence here that's just being stuffed down, like no one's actually getting to hear that. So sorry, I'm just looking, seeing if I can make some extra people some mods, because all of a sudden we started talking about females on the panel, and I started getting all these porn bots. So it's all right.
Paul Bussell has a good.
I blocked him too.
He has a good name for your show, Max. Max's She Shed. It's pretty good.
I saw Max's She Said. I saw Mam Cave. I like Mam Cave from Austin.
I like that.
That's good. The Mam Cave is probably the one to go with. And I like the kissy face with the rainbow too. I think it adds some femininity to it. It's ma'am, says Mags. Oh, dude.
That's what I was thinking of.
Our guy,
boy.
J Dath. Hey, J Dath. Thanks for being here, brother.
J Dath in the house.
Yo, J Dath is like, I've seen him in plenty of chats, dude. He's the man.
Yeah.
Max, while you're doing those mods real quick, I did want to point out that earlier in the chat, Jay the Deep Minded pointed out that today is Navajo Code Talkers Day.
Yes.
So
it's
true.
Yeah,
that's right. Thank you for mentioning that. Or thank you for reminding me, Josh, and also thank you, Jay. I'm sorry I didn't see that earlier, but yes, that is epic. I wish I could find that comment, but I'll most likely Nomi. I can. What I'll do is I will probably Nomi and Rachel. I think you guys are so on top of stuff. I'll most likely go ahead and add you guys as mods, if you will be so kind as to accept this rose of a mod.
Oh, wow.
Max is too sexy for his shirt.
Yes.
Max is hen coop. That just sounds like I'm fucking everyone. So I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can do that.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I do like the Mam Cave, though. I think that should be relevant. Nomi says, I accept. All right, Nomi. I'll make sure to get on that right after our stream. Gentlemen, thank you guys so fucking much. Seriously. Like, this was so fantastic. I can't think of a better way to spend my Sunday night talking not only with guys who I respect very deeply, but also respect their characters in history that they deem to be heroes. Because half of these guys I've never heard of before, you know what I mean? Which is so cool, which is like, for those of you in the chat and for those of you watching, a little peek behind the curtain here. I reached out to these guys on Twitter and I said, hey, come up with some names, come up with legendary heroes, and just tell me about it on stream. So I didn't know anything about these guys until we actually got to talk about them here. So this was like a history lesson for me too. So I loved it. But let's go around the horn real quick. What does everyone have coming up? And what else would you guys like to say before we head out? And we can go, what would that be, clockwise? So we'll start with Salty and move around.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I have watched this show a lot, and I'm a mod on in the chat all the time. It's been fantastic to watch your channel grow, to watch this show. Max's Man Cave is one of the coolest shows to watch. A lot of the things that you've covered, like what is it, the love handles? What did we call those? The baby makers. That's like I still think about that.
So many
episode.
good names. Yep.
Yeah, so many good names. Like, it's just great because in some ways it's a break from our usual talk about pulp culture, and it's talking more about humanity and just being human, and it's really genuine and sincere. And I'm just honored to get to be on the show. You do great stuff, and as ever, thanks for being on my Tuesday show. I'm going to be doing a live stream with Purple Valkyrie tomorrow afternoon, probably at 2 o'clock Central. We're going to be talking woo-woo. She's pulled up some articles on Bigfoot, and also I'm going to tell you all about the asteroid that may very well end life on this planet as we know it in December. Yes, that's definitely a possibility. But thanks for having me here, guys. So, yeah.
Dude, no, of course. Thank you. I mean, since coming on your channel, we're talking 8-9 months.
February, January, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, man, it has been such an honor to do those Tuesday night shows. So, and hail to Zaxx as well for pimping me out and going, hey, you should probably try this channel.
Well, you're the inspiration, and I'm going to say it on your show for me during the Fire of Fandom. The very first show that you came on my Tuesday show, you said we can't just bitch about this. We have to give some people some hope. We have to give them a voice. We have to remind them why we love these things. And that stuck with me all the way back from February, and this idea percolated, and that's why I've put all this time and effort into the Fire of Fandom videos. You lit that spark in me, and so I am very grateful for your perspectives on that. So thank you.
Thanks, man. Well, you are our voice in the Fire of the Phantom series, like it wouldn't be without you. So thank you, sir. Josh, got anything coming up other than we can catch you most of the time on the Comics Aficionados Saturday mornings, right?
Yeah. If I'm not traveling for a friend's wedding, or if I'm not, incapacitated with COVID and like coughing crap up, I'm on there every Saturday. So you can see me there. Other than what do I have going on, I don't really have a YouTube channel thing that I do, so I don't have anything going on. However, I've been working on a website. I had to kind of sideline it this past year because my day job got crazy. I work a lot. I'm a workaholic. I have a day job. I own a side business, and then I have my website, which I own as well. But it's going to be pretty much about the same thing. It's going to look at kind of fandoms and just, different types of media, and kind of look at it from a critical perspective of what I think was done right, what I think could have done better, and then what I would have done differently. But after I get it built up to where it's something somewhat substantial, my goal is to get indie creators on there and kind of expose them and let them see. Because right now, I think a lot of our creators that are out there aren't that great. And they're kind of, just bringing their friends with the same voice in. And I want to get different voices out there.
Well
Dude,
said.
fuck yeah. That's the big thing is like, there's so many of these guys that have such prominent voices, especially independent comic creators and stuff. But it's the difficult aspect of it is getting that voice to people to hear it. And for you to have like a website that's going to potentially hopefully do that for some of these guys is huge, man. Because I could shout the most profound, beautiful statement to the trees, and no one would hear me unless I have someone to help promote that to other people. So, but yeah, man, that's so rad. And I think people are in the chat are going, we need a Josh channel, and I agree. But because you're working so hard, it's tough, man.
And I will say thanks again for having me on. Like I always tell you, I enjoyed coming on here and chatting. And even when I'm not on, I love being in the chat because I've told you before. For me, it's like hanging out with friends, and I don't have a lot of free time. So when I do get to do that, I appreciate it. But man, whenever we talk about heroes, like I get pumped. Like
that was awesome, dude.
I was like
awesome. Yeah.
I feel like I'm on testosterone overload. I want to go punch something real quick.
I know. We got to watch Rocky. Rocky.
I'm gonna go kick the fucking door down.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I love it because like instead of being like, oh, that's a great point. I love to mention. Instead of that response, it's like, and you're like, you're getting excited to like interject your point as well. And when I see that, I'm like, fuck yeah, we're going to get something good now.
Yeah, man.
So I love it, man. Keep it up. I mean, that type of energy, that vibe as they'd call it. It's a good vibe. But the more testosterone on these streams, the better. The more toxic, it's great.
Oh yeah.
Flaccid, we'll go with you, and then we'll make our way around. Like I said.
Hey, yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Max. I don't know why you keep inviting me back on, but I'm always happy, surprised that I'm invited back on. But yeah, it was a great talk here. I'm really excited. I hope to be invited back on for the like basically what story would you want to tell? Because me and Gator told you a little bit at the meetup that we basically gaslighted our friends into believing into a Saturday morning cartoon that didn't exist, and we try to get them to admit that they watched that episode, and then. Me and him would just laugh behind the scenes, being like, "These guys are idiots. How?" We just gaslighted them. But then we actually started creating our own story behind these people eventually as we built these up. So I want to be on that one. But thank you so much for having me on here. This week I have streams Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. They'll be 11 a.m. Central Time. Monday, tomorrow, we're going to be doing a Hulk versus Hulk. So the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk versus the Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton. So we're going to go through every phase of it and vote similar to how me and Zaxx did it for RRR versus Bahubali. We're going to have AJ, Abomination AJ on for it as well because he loves the Hulk. So, yeah, we had him on for our other stream. He's good. Yeah.
He's a good dude. I met him at the Texas meetup. Yeah, fucking awesome guy. And Flaccid, God bless you for bringing out some good Hulk stuff, man. Because like that is going to be reminiscing over like the Hulk movies that we got previously. Like, that's gonna be rad. So I'm looking forward to that. And then you said you had a stream.
Yeah, I was gonna say anyone that hasn't rewatched The Incredible Hulk, it will look like a masterpiece compared to what you're getting right now. Even we had a criticism about it when it first came out. It is amazing. I just rewatched it. Really good movie. And then on Thursday, I'm going to be streaming with Zaxx, and we're going to be doing our Smasher Pass RRR. If you haven't seen it, it's still going to be fun. You don't have to understand. Every person on that panel, or Zaxx, me, and Gator, are witty enough to bring you along and paint you a picture and make you laugh at. So if you're not into Indian cinema, come along for the panel. We have lots of fun over there. So
that's right.
Thanks again for having us on,
dude. Oh my gosh, no, it's my pleasure. Flaccid, I think you and I especially like having you on, man, because anytime I reference the Marine Corps, I can always just go right, Flaccid, and you go like,
yes, sir.
Kill.
He just has to say yes, sir, and hope that I don't kick him off the stream. No,
I
sir. Just continually just saluting.
Yeah.
No, you're right, Punk Waddle. Abomination is taking YouTube by storm, and I love it because he's got a fucking great voice, man. So, but yeah, no, Flaccid, it's a pleasure to have you on, dude. It's always good to have a fellow Marine brother with me on these panels, and just a solid dude. Even at the meetup, I was telling these guys earlier, or I think sometime last week, where like the first time you came up, you didn't even have to say anything, and I was like, this is fucking Flaccid Phoenix. I know who this guy is. So yeah, I just love having you on here, man. And then Zaxx, the man who pretty much started my career, dude. Like, no joke.
No, I did not.
I wish I were joking, or I wish that I was exaggerating. But you were sending me. I remember when I was having like 5 people in the chat, and you were sending me DMs going like, "These are some great YouTube ideas. Dude. These are some great concepts that I think you should really stick with." So yeah, what do you got coming up, brother?
I think you still have to do the MRE date thing.
Yes, that would.
You serve your date MREs. Come on. Wow. That's a video.
He needs a date first in California.
That's the thing. If y'all, if anyone in chat watched our last Max's Man Cave, my first 30 minutes of the show was me just being like, every fucking girl I meet here like doesn't want what I'm offering, which is,
I mean, look at this guy. He's handsome as hell. He's got a killer smile. He works out. He loves his country. He reads comic books. He probably does things below the border that are beyond belief. And it's like, why is this man single? And you know why? Because he's in the People's Republic of California. And it's like, it ain't pity. I'm just saying, you know what? The fruit is ripe, ladies. Get some. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all
I'm just waiting for Max to get sexually frustrated and change teams, and I'll be waiting right here for him.
Honestly, I think I'd probably go with Josh before I went to you, Flaccid, but that's all right.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because we have the comic book thing, and that might, I don't know. There's a level of intimacy. Who knows? No, I'm totally joking. But
I'm domesticated too. I cook and I clean. So what can I say?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Okay, you guys are making a case now. Shit.
All right. We'll pick our cases. We'll do the bachelor for you.
We'll do the pitch. Nomi, thank you for becoming a member. That is very kind of you. I love seeing new members here because you guys always get to see the behind the scenes shit, and I love that. But no, I don't do that to fish for compliments or anything. But you guys are the best, and I think the only reason why I talk about it, the whole dating thing, is because I think that there are people who can resonate with that. And if they hear someone else talking about it, they can also go like, God, okay, thank you. Someone else is feeling the same way, and
I felt that way in Seattle, dude. It was the same thing in Seattle 10 years ago. It's like, I got to go somewhere else. I got to go to Montana. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah.
So, but yes, no, thank you. But to get back to what we were saying with Zaxx, the MRE date would be an epic video. I do need to find someone though that could either like a McKenna or something like that, who I already have an established relationship with or friendship with, because grabbing some girl out of Southern California to be like, what the fuck is this shit? And then I'd be like, this is what's called an MRE.
Just do it in Vegas.
Nobu.
Yeah, Nobu, which is like $100,000 for a dinner plate. But yeah, I mean the MRE thing, it'd be funny because then I'd get called like a baby killer and stuff like that. Because they'd be like, "You were in the military."
I was wondering if you were going to use that word or not, because that's the word they use, and it's horrifying. It is just horrifying how they throw that word around like it's nothing.
Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say, we're definitely going to have to do the story stream, because this topic right here, I'm just going to throw this out there. I want to write a Green Lantern book from a military perspective on this right here, this whole baby killer. And I say this because soldiers in general get grouped as these terrible, disgusting, horrible people. And even in media, they don't get presented enough as caring individuals. And it's like, hey, that's why they fight for you. But you also don't even get to see the relationships they have with each other, which is an even deeper caring relationship. And that's what I want to focus on. So,
dude, that would be so badass. And especially if it's Green Lantern. Hey, I'm all about that. The thing, because like if anyone read the Superman comic that came out that was $10 a couple weeks back, they made Pa Kent this, like, I don't know, maybe I read into it a little bit incorrectly, but they go back into his past in Vietnam and they make him out to be some murderer, baby killer, and I was just like, gosh dang it.
Yeah, they allude to it. He ends up saying that he didn't do it, but they allude that he did it before, and you go pretty much the entire book before they like have him say, actually, I did not. But
God, you got a date in Vegas with MREs.
There we go. I'll bring the camera and the microphones and everything. Now I just got to find an MRE. But yes, let's see. Do you have any videos or any live streams? I know you said you have one with Flaccid on Thursday, right?
Yeah, I've got a video that just premiered like 10 minutes ago because I meant to premiere it this morning at 10:15 and I screwed it up. And
Oops.
So it premiered. Yeah, it's 2 minutes long. It's a joke video. You should watch it. But Thursday I'm doing my live stream. I'm going to be on Salty's hopefully on Tuesday. If he invites me, yeah.
What are you talking about? You're always there, dude. Jesus.
I feel like I'm presumptuous when I announce that I'm on your stream when you're here.
No, just say you're on my stream. I probably forgot to mention we're live on Tuesday at 7:00 Central. Yeah. So.
And then Thursday I'm trying something different on my channel. We're going to do a tournament of Arnold's, and so
yes, that's right.
And we're going to do a single elimination bracket tournament of all the Arnold Schwarzenegger characters.
We are?
Yes.
Awesome. That's awesome. I love it.
and some additional Arnolds maybe thrown in for flavor, like maybe some different strokes Arnold, like maybe he could fight too. And the chat's going to vote on who wins with the poll. So each round we'll talk and we'll get our votes too, and we'll debate, and then you guys will vote on who goes through. And we'll have an ultimate Arnold.
Don't forget Arnold from Happy Days, the guy who owned the diner. We need that guy too. That Arnold.
Arnold Palmer.
Listen,
Benedict Arnold.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
Listen, if I thought we were talking about just Schwartzy Arnold, like Schwarzenegger.
Mostly.
Go all over the place.
I was gonna say, because literally no one beats pumping iron Arnold Schwarzenegger. That is I can only hope that is the Arnold that wins out in the end.
What about the T800 though?
Pumping iron he's coming too much. He's not even gonna focus on that T800, man.
But we could see Dutch versus Conan.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying.
The resourcefulness of Dutch with like the pure brutality of Conan.
Yep.
Jesus. What a cool concept, man. I love that. And that's Thursday night, huh?
Pretty awesome.
Thursday night, so you better be there, chat, to help us decide who's the ultimate Arnold.
Fuck yeah, man.
It's not a tuba. It's not a tuba.
He's there too.
Yeah. And hopefully maybe even what was it? Jingle All the Way, Arnold.
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man.
The Governor too. Does he get to be in it?
Oh, hey, that's probably the weakest of all of them.
Definitely done.
But the I'd say the Turbo Man Arnold, he gets some shit done in that film.
He legit flies through the city.
It's a movie.
He
does. That's true. And he's beating up Sinbad the whole time. Sinbad's not a small dude.
Who turns out to be a domestic terrorist. Throwing packaging bombs at people in hallways.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wild! What an odd movie. Oh wow!
I think you said perfect, right? Perfect movie.
Yeah. Sorry, did I say odd?
Yeah.
My perfect. My translation didn't go through. All right. Well, that is about it. Do you guys have any final words before we take off? Because I think
thanks for having me.
Great show.
Yeah, had fun.
This is a great show.
Nice to meet you, Josh.
Nice to meet you guys. I love being on here with you guys.
That's fun.
You're awesome. You really are. You're awesome.
Oh,
thank you guys.
I've got to go find your channels and subscribe. So you'll be seeing more of
these
me.
Guys,
don't worry.
These guys, what's funny is like I'm small fry. These guys all have larger channels than I do. They have more subscribers. So it is a genuine, it's humbling for me to have them on. And notice Amazon, notice how I didn't attack any one of these gentlemen for being on my stream. I said how thankful I am. I didn't attack them for being too loud or anything on my stream. No, that news is going to be so interesting with Morphid. It's just the beginning. But yeah, we're getting great positive feedback. So I will most likely have you guys back soon for when we talk about original stories. And once again, thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure. Chat, what an excellent chat tonight. You guys have been amazing. So thank you for everything, all the donations and memberships. We'll see you guys either this week in Vegas. I'll also be posting in Vegas. So if you can't make it to the actual meetup, you guys will see me posting shorts and videos and stuff. But I'll see you guys in Vegas, and then I'll see you next week for another Max's Man Cave. It's always a pleasure. Reject modernity, embrace your legacy. Thank you guys so much for being here.